I'm here, I promise. I'm not sure how here I am. Sorry, I was tangled up in my wires. Didn't hit the button in time. Welcome in, everybody. Um, Hope you're having a good day so far. Come on in and get comfy. Grab your coffee, your tea, whatever your vice might be. Y'all know the drill. Oh, let me pull up my chat so I can see what's happening here. Y'all can hear me okay in the chat, I assume. I can never hear myself talking, so I don't know. Okay, let me get everything going here. That's crazy. My YouTube was doing something crazy on my phone. Sorry, guys. I had to, my ADHD or ADD, whatever the heck I got, whatever it is like everywhere today and it's winning. So I'm just not trying to fight it and cause myself turmoil. I'm just rolling with it. If y'all suffer from it, you know how it is. Let's all roll together. Hey, Dolphin, welcome in. Good morning. Welcome into my mod team. Rachel, Forrest, and Butterfly, thank you for being here. Um, okay, Dolphin. Who else do we have here this morning or this afternoon? Doug, welcome in. Y'all come on in, hit the like button, help us get the show into the big old algorithm, as they say. I'm not the greatest about coming in and saying all that, but I appreciate y'all for doing it and that you don't mind that I ask you to do it. Y'all do the things. You're outside letting the dog out. I just let the dogs back in. They seem to be cooperating this morning. If they get too rambunctious, I'll have to go kennel the puppy for a little while, but right now they're fine. Well, the puppy's disappeared, so I'm assuming they're fine. Oh, she's in the chair asleep. It's her nap time. Good. They'll lie down and be quiet. All right, guys. So we're going to get into the Rex Heuermann of it all. We're going to get that coverage. There's a lot to cover today. Y'all have heard me say, maybe if you've been around for a minute, of different things in the past, a little bit here and there about Heuermann and this press conference that was held this one time, and how a certain doctor was up there during the whole thing. It's crazy stuff. Well, I got a lot more about that. That might can help explain where I come from sometimes when I have pushback against a certain doctor and why. Or actually, anybody who picks up a textbook these days and tells me, well, this is what happened because this book tells me that's what happened, I'm going to ask you to sit down with your literary art. Because apparently Rex Sherman's got a lot to say to the BAU, and I'm here for it. They need to brush up their yo, I know the dog agrees. They need to brush up on their knowledge because they got some hybrid killers on their hand and they don't know what to do with them. They don't even know how to classify them. They don't know how to come up with a theory about them. Yeah, it's not in the textbook, said Dr. Yon and all his cohorts, apparently. We'll get into that. The other big thing on the thumbnail, y'all noticed Nanos. Now, we don't know anything beyond what was said in the last night's Board of Commissioners meeting. And I have that part of the meeting where they specify what they want Nanos to do. And Nanos has 10 days, but one of the commissioners wanted to clarify that that was 10 business days. It's like, okay, give the sheriff the business days so he can clearly understand what's asked of him, right? You can't go tell Nanos you got 10 days, sir. He'll literally think I've got 10 full. You know what I mean? No, we got to be crystal clear. I thought all business was conducted on business days, right? I forget though, some people have to be explained into detail. Like everything they should already know, we got to explain it again. Like that coffee could be hot, ma'am. Don't spill it on yourself, right? Big warning labels now in case you didn't know. He did. Well, he's going to be speaking with the behavioral analysis unit, Rachel. They got a lot of questions, right? Hold on. Sorry. Loud, rambunctious people, animals, whatever you are. Um, yeah, that's the word on the street. Is Rex Sherman's going to be working with and talking to the BAU, and you know they got a lot of questions for that guy. He did this for a really long time, and look how the Gilgo 4 turned into the Gilgo 8. Now you have to ask. We should be asking ourselves how many more that we don't know about. You've been doing this for a really long time, Rex Heuermann. And people wonder if certain people in that area knew about you and turned the other head. But I'll let them handle that stuff. I tried to look away when that part came up. I'm like, oh no, I did not just see that. I don't want to look at that. I got enough going on. Don't need to see it. Now, the thing about Rex Heuermann and the Gilgo 4, when Shannon Gilbert placed a 911 call begging for help and running for her life into the marsh, I'm about to go put a puppy up. She called 911, like someone's after me, please come help me. When they finally get out there, they can't find her. They find her, but she drowns in the marsh and she is not connected. Now, whether she actually drowned in the marsh or not, I'm not here to debate today. That's what they have told us. And that it is completely unrelated to Rex Heuermann. But what it did provoke was one cop to keep going back out there and going back, taking his dog, and he starts finding body parts, not like the whole body, parts, you know what I mean? But they were already finding body parts long before that. They just didn't know. Hold on, guys. Sorry, I gotta go put this puppy up for a minute. This is gonna get on my nerves. I'm gonna have to yell at them, and then y'all are gonna be like, "Quit being mean to your dog." But hey, they need to be yelled at to get to learn to act right. Hold on. Well, that was almost disastrous. When I rounded the corner, the cat standing in the hallway, and the big dog was like, I'm not going down that hallway. I've seen what she does, I've seen her work. Lord, now they're all put away. They need to go mind their business now. Okay, go to sleep, animals. Y'all got to be on guard all night. They need their rest. Okay. All right, so they did have their meeting last night at the Board of Commissioners meeting to decide what to do with Nanos. So Nanos was given a list of things they want him to do and produce within 10 business days. Now, instead of, I think, watching that segment in the meeting, I've got the timestamp. We can take a look at that. But the news also did a pretty good breakdown. Their local news media, I saw, had a pretty decent breakdown. So I thought, well, we might just use that because we do got other things we need to get into. And At this point, it's almost like, Nanos, what are you doing? Everybody knows you lied. They know, it really, it matters, should matter more to the people in that community that you lied. And that's a big no-no. It's illegal. So you should kind of like just step aside instead of causing all this back and forth, back and forth. Because really ain't nobody got time for all this mess, dude. You're a thorn in our side at this point. And he failed Miss Nancy. Okay. With all his nonsense about wandering off in the night. Why is it doing that? It did the same thing the other day. My pictures are messed up back here. Something's not right. It's probably user error. Hang on, guys. I'm trying to fix something back here in my studio, and it's not wanting to cooperate. Okay.
Pima County deputies involving Sheriff Chris Nanos. He now has 10 business days to respond to a list of questions. News 4 Tucson's Andrew Capasso is live in downtown with more on what's happening out there. Andrew.
Yeah, Monica, good evening to you. This meeting between the Board of Supervisors wrapping up just in the past hour. The supervisors meeting behind closed doors with outside counsel, deciding how to move forward. So now we know what the Board of Supervisors, the information they want from the sheriff. First, his time with the El Paso Police Department. That includes the time he was there, why he left, and the discipline he faced. Remember, there were some questions about what was in the sheriff's resume. The sheriff had said it was a clerical error, and the correct resume is in his personnel file. The other thing the Board of Supervisors wants to know, disciplinary action involving his former opponent in the sheriff's race, Heather Lappin, also involving Aaron Cross. Also, what is happening to avoid the appearance of retaliation. Third, any talks he's had with immigration enforcement authorities.
Sorry, guys. I was just realizing this guy's kind of skimming over some of it. In the meeting, they talked about the sheriff doing things to make it appear as if he was retaliating, and more like, stop it, sir. Don't do things that might make it appear like you're appear our ass he is retaliating, right? And they were specifically talking about Heather Lappin, who was running for sheriff against him that time.
Authorities since 2021. And finally, questions about the budget for the sheriff's department, including what the sheriff is doing to stay within budget moving forward. So back out here live.
So I'm going to play the part from the actual meeting, because that guy just kind of got on my nerves skimming over some of that. It's like, what are y'all doing? Don't you want your people to know the whole truth and nothing but the truth? Right? It's like gloss over. Here's a couple of facts. I mean, the whole meeting was literally available online. You could watch it. I did. That's how I know he just glossed over some stuff. Come on, sir. Okay, let me pull up my timestamps. Whoa. A big truck needed some brakes on it, y'all. They're out here working the fields. They're getting ready to plant stuff so we could eat. I'm in the country, by the way, surrounded by fields. Fields of dreams where they're going to plant food and grow it. Well, I wonder what they're going to plant this year. They vary. They change up. Okay, let me pull this up and get my timestamp going. I think they did peanuts last year and they do cotton this year. God, I hope. That's a hot mess. Okay, 79:40. Where's my timestamp? Right here. Okay. All right, so now they're going to talk about the sheriff and what they want him to do, okay, in the next 10 business days. again. This keeps getting larger. Okay, stop playing with me today. All right.
The addendum item number 8. This was a request of a report from Sheriff Nanos, her ARS 11-253. So I will read what the best way to present this. I will read and then we will further discuss and vote on the language that that we will be putting forward.
You better agree on that language. America has a hard time with the agreeable language. And if it's not worded just right, we just have a legal snafu here, sir. How many of these people, I wonder, have had dinner with the sheriff lately, or personal close friends, been to the Christmas parties, go, play some basketball together, go catch a game occasionally? Or are y'all like, I don't really know that guy at all. I'm just over here doing my county commissioner stuff.
All right. So this is the text that will be communicated to Pima County Sheriff Nanos. There will be a cover letter that precedes this, but the heart of the communication is this. Recent public reporting has raised questions concerning several matters involving the Pima County Sheriff's Department. Accordingly, pursuant to ARS 11-253, the board requests a report from Sheriff Nanos addressing the facts and circumstances related to each of the following matters, together with any corrective actions taken to date, any additional actions proposed, and a timeline for implementation where applicable. Number 1, prior representations regarding your employment history with the El Paso Police Department, including A, the circumstances of your departure, B, the dates of your employment as reflected in application materials, resumes, and prior testimony with Pima County, and C, any prior disciplinary history, including suspensions. For this matter, please also identify whether any inaccuracies or omissions occurred and what steps, if any, you will take to address this matter, restore public confidence, and ensure the accuracy and completeness of your official background and employment representations in the future. 2, the disciplinary actions involving former Pima County Sheriff candidate Lieutenant Heather Lappin and Union Leader Sergeant Aaron Cross, including the process, standards, and considerations applied in those matters. For this matter, please also identify
Notice they're bringing up Aaron Cross. I told y'all weeks ago when he began to come speak out, he saw an opportunity and he took advantage of it, and rightfully so, sir. Smart move. And the way you've come out and spoke, you did it in a way where it wasn't bashing, I'm mad, I hate, it was very, very professional manner.
Existing policies, procedures, and supervisory practices adequately safeguard impartiality and consistency in disciplinary decisions, and describe any steps you will take to clarify standards, strengthen review processes, and prevent the appearance of retaliatory or uneven enforcement in future matters involving employees engaged in protected or political activities. 3, the nature and extent of communications or coordination between the Pima County Sheriff's Department and federal immigration officials since 2021, including how those interactions align with the department's stated policies and public representations. For this matter, please also describe any written policies and procedures currently governing such interactions, whether those policies have been followed consistently, and what steps, if any, you will take to clarify departmental guidance and public communication on this issue going forward. And finally, 4, there have been repeated instances where the Board of Supervisors has been informed by the Finance Department that your department would exceed its budget. Please describe how and why prior department expenditures have exceeded your budget and what you have done to address budgetary issues in forthcoming budget cycles.
He was always exceeding his budget. Well, we know it wasn't to hire qualified investigators. Was he helping to pay his, he was helping to make his car payment. Oops. That was his bad. He didn't mean to.
The cover letter accompanying these questions, per the statute, will communicate that we will expect a report in 10 days. That report can be either written or verbal, and will coincide with the next Board of Supervisors meeting. I will move the item.
Second.
Seconded by Supervisor Hines. Discussion.
Chair Allen.
Supervisor Scott.
Just to clarify, when we said 10 days, we meant 10 business days.
Yes, sir. 10
Thank you.
business days. Make sure we all understand. Nobody's going to work on a non-business day. We don't do that in Pima County.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Item
This
passes
one guy
5-0.
just stuck his thumb up. He didn't even say it. Now, I wonder who called Nanos and said, you got 10 days, buddy. Business days, sir. You have 10 business days to get it together and answer these questions that we posed. What will happen? How will he answer them? You know, can he give a good enough answer that will suffice the commissioner board there? And they're like, okay, we're good. Like you're on probation or something, but you better not do it again. And anybody who thinks that Cross is not going to run for sheriff, Rachel, that was his whole reason for speaking out from day one, in my opinion. He's coming for the sheriff office, right? And he wants to hold that office. And if I was in that county, I would be in there personally packing up Nanos's desk. Like, I got to make room for this other guy, man. He's way better than you. Nobody ordered me to. I just took it upon myself to do it, sir. Go get in your Corvette and take a ride. Here's the thing, Rachel. If he lies, he's going to be fired. He already lied about not being suspended in the past. That was an absolute lie. And they want an answer as to why. The budget talks and the don't make it look like you're retaliating, that's just extra shit lumped in with all the stuff he does already. We need to get down to why you lied when you were asked. You know, and I get it. All them years ago, back in the 80s, 90s, their departments weren't like checking up thoroughly. But when asked specifically, he lied about it. That's his problem. So he can answer things dishonestly. Some of it he can get away with, Rachel, like, you know, fudging what I'm going to do about the budget, or how I won't do this anymore to make it look like I'm retaliating. I will follow the letter of the law. I won't suspend people. I won't move them about into the department to somewhere, all those things. But what about you flat out lying to the people? Let's hold your feet to the fire for that. Remember, he was not used to his feet being held to the fire, and he wasn't used to all of his words being scrutinized. And now he understands what all that means, right? You get it now, sir? You get how the internet really works, or should work. If we see something, say something, we're like, oh, that's a head scratcher. What are you doing? We're not just up here doing it because it felt good in the moment. It's like we can see it in real time. It's crazy. Altogether, Rachel, I don't remember how many days. I don't remember Afro Man for sheriff, right? He's come bring us all some of his mama's lemon cake. Wasn't it lemon cake? Lemon pound cake. We cannot get it wrong. It has to be the pound cake. I have pound cake in the refrigerator. I got strawberries and Cool Whip to go with it. I should probably have some later. Okay. Yeah, so we'll see what the sheriff does. If he gets somebody to help him along with the legal writing, you know, hey, help me write this. I don't know how his wife really feels about him, so I don't know if she's willing to help him out or not at the dinner table tonight. He may have started his answers last night. I doubt it. He probably needed to sleep on it. Consult with his private attorneys that the county better not be paying for, by the way. Okay. So, Butterfly, one thing we do need to check was Ray Tierney, the prosecutor, supposed to hold a press conference after everything this morning. At last check, they had not done that yet, and I was over on, I believe it was Mary's X account, and hadn't seen it yet, but I know they were all going in that direction. And the reason I say in that direction, because when Rex Heuermann, they all left the courthouse today, Ray Tierney, the prosecutor, was going to be holding a press conference over in Brentwood. So they had to, not from the courthouse steps, right? So they all went down to catch that. There have been other things happening this morning. We are all told or found out throughout the past week, last several days, that this is actually rumblings that have been going on, and people who follow the Heuermann case, because we don't get hearings, we don't get all the documents like we normally get in a lot of the cases, deep dive, just getting whatever news reports came out after certain hearings. And a lot of the information I would go and get good updates on it. What is it, Rachel? The Sinister podcast. Rach, if you could grab that link and put it in chat, please. Because Joe Jack Leone goes over there a lot. They work together a lot. Laura Ingle will go out and chill with them. And they all keep a very, very good eye on this case. So anyway, they bring a lot of good updates. So we knew that there was a chance he could plead guilty. And it wasn't like he was offered a plea bargain, right? No, he was going to, he was going to change his plea today because he already entered not guilty. And if you have followed the case somewhat, you know what's been happening. If not, I'll kind of catch you up as best I can. So as they're moving through the victims and they're getting them all identified and they're ruling out a couple that aren't related, that just like Peaches and the baby, turns out they were totally unrelated. Her husband actually killed her and the baby, and yeah, put her out there like same dumping ground Rex Heuermann chose. Go figure. So they were doing all that. They were discovering hairs, right, on the bodies of some of these victims. And the hair matched Rex Heuermann's wife. And I think one matched his daughter. But there's no hair follicle. And if you follow the Delphi case, follicle, damn it, them follicles. DNA testing on hair without follicles versus with, right? So it was a bit, and normally they hold what's called like a Daubert hearing. In New York, it's a Fry hearing to test the weight and validity of evidence. So they had this big hearings about that DNA, nuclear DNA, and how it's new and how it's not used here and it is used there. They went through this whole thing, and the judge decided to allow the nuclear DNA testing to come into court. And when it did, it was going to show those hairs belong to Rex Heuermann's family. Rex Heuermann's like, oh boy, that's a lot to deal with. Maybe I should plead guilty after all, because you got me. I just thought the pizza crust situation was bad, but apparently hairs matter. Not in Delphi, but they do in New York. And these were just found like laying on the body, not even wrapped around a finger of a body. How odd is that? But anyway, I digress. So after they decided to allow all that in, that's when he started singing different tune to his defense attorneys. Now, there has been a wrongful death suit now filed by one of the victim's sons, and it was Valerie Mack's son who has filed the lawsuit. And so John Ray is an attorney who has worked with the families of the victims. John Ray has went hard after Rex Heuermann, and rightfully so. But he's done a lot. He's done a lot. He did a little extra, and Dr. Gary Bricardo was a part of that extra. And I remember when I watched it 2 years ago, I was like, holy heck, what am I seeing here? What are you implying, doctor? We'll take a look at all that today. Some of y'all may understand why I side-eye a certain doctor. I'm like, what? And family dynamics and all will get you every single time. In fact, when you get tunnel vision like that and the show you go on continuously points accusations at family, and then you make fun of channels who are following that same family member around, what's the difference? Are you fueling the fire? Are you separate because you're a big channel and you got integrity? I'm just curious. Okay. Told y'all my ADD, whatever I got, is everywhere today. And no, I don't have medication for that shit. I just have to own it up like a big girl. I got 15 things to do in my head. Well, guess what? We're about to do all 15. I'll take a nap later. Can't help it. I don't want your pharmaceuticals. All right. So he did plead guilty to 7 of the identified victims. Now they added the 8th victim, and from what I can understand, he didn't plead guilty to her, but in the allocution he did claim that, right? So I'm gonna take a look at a couple of things in an article we got before we get going on some of the here, let me mark this off my list. Hold on one second so I don't try to get that back in. Okay. Okay, let me look, Butterfly, if it's different. I checked it a few minutes ago and there was something there, but it was something I already had. So, okay. Hold on one second, guys. Okay, I was getting my other, hang on, guys, I'm getting updates. Let me just check. I don't want them to be repeating, so I'm looking to make sure I got different things. Hold on. Oh, what do I got here? Let's see. Okay, I'll have to go to Twitter to pull that up. Let me hang on one second, guys. Sorry. Oh, it's on his. Okay, got it. All right, a lot of information coming in quickly. Thank you, Rachel. Let me grab that real quick. Because this is actually like official stuff right here. Stuff I like to look for at this point. Okay, let me make sure I can get this PDF pulled up, guys. That's the map. Okay, got it. The plea. All right. I'll pull this up and we'll start reading through it. It's a 5-page statement, and then we'll go into looking at some of the stuff that I have to share. Okay, let me get this up. It did it again. Lord help me, today is not the day. Okay, hold on. When you're trying to share stuff in real time. Ugh. Let me get it back. Get up here. Okay. Let me save this PDF and pull it up that way versus the way I was trying, because it's not going to work that way. Here we go. Now. Okay, now it should work. There we go. There, I had to get my little boxes of me out of the way. That was annoying me. I don't know about y'all. It was bothering me. Okay. Okay, now I'm unmuted. My mic just went nuts. Okay, so from Ray Tierney, District Attorney, for immediate release April 8th, which is today, 2026, in case we forgot what year it was. All right. Gilgo's serial killer pleads guilty to 7 charged murders and also admits to killing Karen Vergata. And I have a list of all about all these victims, actually. Okay, Heuermann is expected to be sentenced to 3 consecutive sentences of life imprisonment without the possibility of parole for killing Melissa Barthelemy, Megan Waterman, and Amber Costello. Now, that's Costello because there is a Castilla also in the case. Heuermann also expected to be sentenced to a consecutive sentence of 100 years to life imprisonment for killing Maureen Brainard-Barnes, Jessica Taylor, Sandra Costilla, and Valerie Mack. Suffolk County District Attorney Ray Tierney today announced that Rex Heuermann, 62, of Massapequa Park, pled guilty to 3 counts of murder in the first degree and 4 counts of murder in the second degree for causing the deaths of 7 victims previously referenced by indictment, as well as admitting publicly as part of his allocation to killing the 8th victim, Karen Vergata. According to court documents, the defendant's admissions during his guilty plea allocution on or about in between November 19th, 1993 and 1993. So, hang on, guys. They did Karen's remains were found in two separate years, okay? The first time remains were discovered for Karen were 1996. So 3 years after he murdered her. And then the rest of her remains, I believe, were found in 2011. 96, part of her, and then 2011, the rest of her. That's the sick bastard. The defendant met with Sandra Costilla. After picking up Miss Costilla, the defendant subsequently strangled her, causing her death. Subsequently, the defendant transported and left remains of Miss Costilla in the vicinity of Fish Cove Road in North Sea, town of Southampton, Suffolk County. This dude's got bodies all up and down Long Island. Until she was ultimately discovered by hunters November 20th of 1993. At the time of her death, so that she was discovered in 93, and he was already killing girls in 1993. Is that as far back as they can take him? It's 2026. The guy was arrested in what, 2024? 1993. We knew in the 90s these people were out there, but nobody wanted to believe it. Guys like Rex Heuermann. And look, there he was all this time walking around like a normal dude. Make sure you know your normal dudes. Make sure you know them. At the time of her death, that just makes me have more questions about, oh goodness, how you go that long and nobody knows. At the time of her death, Miss Castillo was just 28 years old and survived by her son, who was approximately 5 years old. In 96, Heuermann met with Vergata. Okay, so that's when his first meeting with Vergata was at. Okay. After picking up Ms. Vergata, the defendant subsequently strangled her, causing her death. Following her death, Ms. Vergata was dismembered by Heuermann, who transported her remains to various locations. On April 20th of 96, the severed legs of Vergata were discovered on Blue Point Beach in the town of Brookhaven in Suffolk County. Hang on. Have to get the adult conversations going here. Yucky stuff. In 96, Heuermann met with Vergata. After picking her up, he strangled her, causing her death. She was dismembered and transported to various locations. So they found her legs at Blue Point Beach in the town of Brookhaven. Almost 15 years later, in 2011, April 12th, as part of the expanded search of the Gilgo Beach area, Ms. Vergata's skull was recovered in the Ocean Parkway in the vicinity of Tobay Beach. So you have to wonder, even back in 96, he's like, I'm going to put part here, part there. Was that his way of thinking they'll never find them, or it'll be harder to find them? Does that make sense, right? But ugh. Okay, hang on, let me make sure I didn't. Lordy, these phone calls. All right. Sorry, I was checking my updates with the mods too, making sure I'm not missing anything because I got some stuff saved they aren't aware I have saved yet, and we're just trying to make sure we have the latest. And they're watching out for that press conference for me. I haven't read what y'all are putting there yet, Butterfly, but I am seeing it. Y'all give me a second. We'll check it out. Okay. After picking up Ms. Vergata, the defendant subsequently strangled her. Oh, I'm not going to read that over again. Okay. Vergata's skull was recovered on Ocean Parkway in the vicinity of Tobay Beach. Prior to her identification in 2023 via genetic genealogy, Ms. Vergata had been referred to as Fire Island Jane Doe. At the time of her death, Ms. Vergata was 34 years old and left behind 2 sons. On or about or between September 1, 2000 and November 19 of 2000, Heuermann met with Valerie Mack. Now, Mack's son is the one filing the wrongful death lawsuit now against, as far as I know, it's against Rex, Asa, Ellerup, his wife, ex-wife, and daughter Victoria. Why is she being named? I don't know. Maybe we should ask Dr. Picardo, whatever it's called. He should have the answer. After picking up Miss Mack, the defendant subsequently strangled her, causing her death. Following her death, Miss Mack was dismembered by Heuermann, who then transported her remains to 2 locations in Manorville and in Ocean Parkway. And I've been all over that map, and there were a couple things over there at Manorville. Yes, here we go. On November 19, 2000, 3 hunters discovered a black plastic bag approximately 1 mile west of Halsey Manor Road and north of Mill Road in Manorville. And when he was leaving bodies in this particular area, he was using the plastic bags. And at some point, he goes to burlap sacks because he's a hunter. Like, he wraps them in these burlap sacks. Inside, they observed a decapitated set of human remains, which were later identified as those of Valerie Mack. Over 10 years later, on April 4th, 2011, as part of the expanded search of the Gilgo Beach area, the skull, hands, and right foot of Valerie Mack were discovered along Ocean Parkway. They didn't get in pieces by themselves. There's a lot of indication, especially in his planning document. These women were alive through 95% of their torture. Some of them maybe barely at some point, but he liked it when they were alive. That was part of the thrill, if you will, whatever you want to call what these sick bastards do, get off on in their head. That's what he liked. The torture. You know what I mean? The sadism, everything, all of that. It wasn't enough to go out, kidnap a girl, sexually assault her, kidnap her, hold her against her will. None of that was enough, right? We got to go do all. Can you imagine the torture? You're hanging from a suspended hook from a ceiling. We read it in the document. You didn't get strapped to a chair and just, no, this dude did sick things to these victims. And they had to see what he was about to do to them with his tools of the trade. Holy shit. What did your victims say to you? Did they beg for their life? Did they beg for their life? And how much of that did he enjoy? Behavioral unit's got a whole bunch of questions, mister. Is that going to help us prevent you in the future? I don't know what the answer is, guys. Inside, they observed I can't even say it now. Decapitated set of human remains. Okay. Just east of Gilgo Beach in Suffolk County. Okay, prior to her ID in 2020 via genetic genealogy, Miss Mack was referred to as Jane Doe number 6. At the time of her death, Miss Mack was 24 years old and is survived by her adoptive parents and her son, whose name was tattooed on her right ankle. Now, at some point, he decided in his planning document that any of the girls that had tattoos, he should probably try to remove that tattoo before disposing of her. Why? Identifying markers. And they literally recovered some of the bodies they could tell where he had taken the tattoos off of the victims. And you can only use your imagination as to how he would have done that. On or about in between July of 21 of 2003 and July 26 of 2003, Heuermann met with Jessica Taylor. After picking up Ms. Taylor, the defendant subsequently strangled her, causing her death. Following her death, Ms. Taylor was dismembered by Heuermann, who then transported her remains to 2 locations, Manorville and Ocean Parkway, Gilgo Beach. On July 26, 2003, Ms. Taylor's remains were discovered just west of Halsey Manor Road in Monroeville. Notably, the victim's arms, hands, and head had been severed from her body and were missing from the remains recovered at the scene. Nearly 8 years later, on March 29th of 2011, as part of the expanded search in the Gilgo Beach area, the victim's skull, hands, and forearm were discovered. Along Ocean Parkway and just east of Gilgo Beach in Suffolk County. At the time of her death, Ms. Taylor was 20 years old and survived by her mother. Oh, here he comes with his burner phones. In July of 2007, after seeing an online advertisement, Heuermann utilized a burner phone to arrange to meet Maureen Brainard-Barnes. On the night of July 9, 2007, Heuermann picked up Ms. Brainard-Barnes and subsequently strangled her, causing her death. Following her death, Heuermann secured the remains of Brainard-Barnes with 3 belts and transported the victim to Ocean Parkway in Gilgo Beach. Over 3 years later, on December 13th, 2010, Ms. Brainard-Barnes' remains were discovered on the north side of Ocean Parkway near Gilgo Beach. At the time of her death, Ms. Brainard-Barnes was just 25 years old and survived by her 2 children and her sister and brother, as well as her mother. On July 10th of 2009, after seeing an online advertisement for her services, Heuermann utilized a burner phone to arrange to meet Melissa Barthelemy. Look, it's July 9th of 2007, and here you got July 10 of 2009. And according to early reports of the investigation, his wife and children were always out of town when when investigators believe he had a victim in the home. Does she have a thing about going somewhere in July every year? Back to her native land? So on July 10th of 2009, he's at it again with his burner phone, and then he arranges to meet Melissa Barthelemy. That evening, Heuermann picked up Ms. Barthelemy and ultimately strangled her, causing her death. Following her death, Heuermann tied up the remains of Ms. Barthelemy with tape and burlap. Subsequently, the defendant transported the victim's remains to Ocean Parkway, Gilgo Beach. Over a year later, on December 11, 2010, Ms. Barthelemy's remains were discovered on the north side of Ocean Parkway near Gilgo Beach. At the time of her death, Ms. Barthelemy was 24 years old and survived by her sister, mother, and stepfather. And out here where he's taken these bodies is a long stretch of dark, quiet marsh right all the way down Long Island. And there's little pull-offs, you can pull off of the road, the main road, but you don't want to get off into that marsh. There's nobody coming, and if they do come, you can see them so far away. They cannot, all you can see their headlights, way down the road. They can't see what you're doing. Plenty of time to jump back in your car and haul ass, or make sure you got coast is clear, right? And you get out there and you dump them and you get back in the car and leave. Nobody ever saw this guy doing anything crazy out there. Like, reports like there's a crazy guy out up near the beach. It's in the middle of the night and we don't know what he's doing. Hey, Jet Set, welcome in. Hey, RC, welcome in. John Ray is quite the character. And the first time you lay eyes on him, you're like, what's about to come out of this man's mouth, right? And then you see it. Oh, you hear it. You see it, then you hear it, and you're like, oh, well, you got some points, but damn. That evening, let me go up. Okay, so now we're in June 6th of 2010. Heuermann utilized a burner phone to arrange to meet with Megan Waterman. That evening, Heuermann picked up Ms. Waterman from the Holiday Inn in Hoppage and subsequently strangled the victim, causing her death. Following her death, Heuermann tied up the remains of Ms. Waterman with tape and burlap and then transported the victim's remains to Ocean Parkway at Gilgo Beach. Just over 6 months later, on December 13th of 2010, Ms. Waterman's remains were discovered on the north side of Ocean Parkway near Gilgo Beach. At the time of her death, Ms. Waterman was just 22 years old and survived by her daughter, mother, and grandmother. A lot of these girls had a 1 or 2 kids. And yes, all of Rex Heuermann's victims were sex workers, and it doesn't matter in my book. And what matters to me is if these were random white women snatched out the parking lot from the grocery store and brutally attacked and murdered, this would have been a much bigger deal than it is. And that's sad. We can't have white women, soccer mamas going missing. These sex workers, no one knows about them. Half of them aren't even reported. And when they do get reported, they've been gone for weeks at a time. Even some of the mothers were like, well, it was normal for me not to see her 3 to 4 weeks, But after 6, 8 weeks, I get a little concerned. But they're victims, and they didn't deserve what he was about to do to them when he called them for their services. And let's be honest, if we didn't live in a world full of sick-ass men, those women wouldn't have a need to be out there putting their shit out there for sale if men weren't buying it. And then one of the oldest jobs known to our mankind, and that what I always heard growing up, prostitution, one of the oldest jobs. Hell, they had that brothel back in the Wild Wild West, Miss Kitty. You hang your hat at Miss Kitty's place. Anyway, they mattered. This guy was convinced they didn't matter. Nobody was going to care what I was doing to them, long as it wasn't your soccer mom. Following a long-term investigation, the defendant was arrested on July 13th of 2023. Remember that video, y'all, where he's walking down the sidewalk and they rush in and get him, the little men in black suits, those guys? FBI, sir. Heuermann is due back in court for sentencing on June 17th of 2026. We got to mark our calendars. We're not going to get to watch it. Where he is expected, well, we do have some clips of him pleading guilty, but it's from the local news there that were in their day. Where he is expected to be sentenced to 3 consecutive sentences. Now, they don't have the death penalty, in New York. They did away with the death penalty back in 2004. It was deemed unconstitutional, and the last remaining person on death row was in 2007, and that was ultimately turned. So just life in prison. So Rex is not facing DP at all. Heuermann says that wasn't the reason, you know what I mean, that he decided to change a plea to guilty to take the death penalty off the table. That was never in play here. Heuermann is also expected to be sentenced to a consecutive sentence of 100 years to life imprisonment for killing Maureen Brainard-Barnes, Jessica Taylor, Sandra Castillo, Valerie Mack. And he got who will get life in prison without parole for Bartholomew, Megan Waterman, and Amber Castillo. In exchange for Heuermann's admission to the murder of Karen Vergata, this additional murder is covered by Heuermann's plea to the murders of the 7 charged victims. They didn't technically charge him with an 8th murder. Heuermann is represented by attorneys Michael J. Brown, Daniel Kosh, and Sabato Capone. Well, this case is being prosecuted by district attorneys Nicholas Santamartino, Andrew Lee, Michelle, it's a bunch of people. The investigation was led by the Gilgo Homicide Task Force, which includes members of the Suffolk County District Attorney's Office, Suffolk County Police Department's Homicide Squad, New York State Police, Federal Bureau of Investigations, and the Suffolk County Sheriff's Office. The Gilgo Homicide Task Force also extends its sincere appreciation to the Suffolk County Medical Examiner's Office, the Suffolk County Crime Lab, and the Identification Section of the Suffolk County Police Department. The New York City of Chief Medical Examiner, Astria Forensics, Mitotyping Technologies, that's going to be your DNA experts coming in with the hair follicles, and the United States Secret Service for their integral assistance in the investigation and prosecution. once we got a grip on that investigation that we're pretty sure a department turned their heads to for decades. We're not quite sure why. Oh, there are people who have their theories. So that's that document, guys. Issued by the district attorney's office today after, what in the hell? I don't know what this picture's even doing up here. I don't even know how to get the other one to come back. So y'all's gonna be looking at that picture, I guess. This is getting cattywampus back here today. I don't know what's going on with that. Okay, so like I said, he was I think in 1993 is when his victim Castilla they began fight. So 93, 96, 2000, 2007, 2009, 2010, 2011, and 2023. Like there was just body parts coming up and trying to solve it, right? As to who is who. And what do you know? You match a body part, or you type it with DNA and then you go, okay, well, let me go over here and see. It's crazy work to have to be involved with to match everything up with the correct person, all the DNA, and to know this body found over here and goes with what we found over there, right? It's insane. Let me double check my notes here so I don't want to skip over anything that you go to the next segment here. Oh, where's my thing? I don't know why I feel cold today. It's been cold in Florida the last couple days. I was like bragging we didn't hardly have a winter. It's been feeling good, and then all of a sudden, yesterday I did have a. Today it's back to cool again. I'm like, what the hell's going on? To come, it doesn't warm up for me and stay good until May hits in Florida. Then I'm a happy girl. Okay, did we ever see if yeah, it is gnarly work. Dolphin, it's crazy. All right, let me check my messages real quick, guys. Okay. Is this the actual press conference now, Rach? Yeah, thank you, ma'am. Let me save it to the playlist. Okay. All right, let me get over here. Now, yesterday, and we're going to take a look at it all. I got it all situated here. I believe it was Asa Ellerup's attorney held a little press conference outside their home. And then I didn't review it. Then Laura Ingle, reporter, interviewed him on the front porch of the home, and Rex's wife comes out with her coffee and sits there. I have that too. That all took place yesterday ahead of this morning's court stuff and plea, changing of the plea and all the things. Now, there was a press conference held by Heuermann's attorneys, and now we have the one held by the prosecutor. So we'll go see what the prosecutor has to say, and then we'll jump into the other stuff. So Rex has had his day in court. Actually, let me show this one little clip first, and then we'll go look at Ray Tierney's press conference. Okay. Go away, Sheriff. You've been bumped down to the bottom for a moment. We'll get back to you real soon, I'm sure. You won't fucking go away. Okay, here's the one where he... Okay, let me pull this up, and this is a who is this? CBS News New York. and then we'll look at the press conference.
Moments ago, we heard from Heuermann speaking to the judge before pleading guilty. Let's listen.
Have you discussed this case with your attorney?
Yes, I have.
Have you had enough time to discuss this case with your attorney?
Yes, I have.
After discussions with your lawyer, you feel it's in your best interest to plead guilty rather than go to trial.
Yes, Your Honor.
Are you satisfied with the manner in which your attorneys represented you in this case?
Yes, I am.
I must say that the attorneys on both sides of this case have been excellent, unbelievable lawyers. Do you understand that by pleading guilty to a charge, that is the same as if you had gone to trial and been found guilty of that charge?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you understand that by pleading guilty, you're waiving a number of very important rights?
Yes, Your Honor.
As you're hearing from Rex Heuermann there for the first time, pleading guilty to 7 counts of murder, sentencing now set for June 17th.
Wow. Yes, Your Honor. I mean, how do you deny it if you're going to stand there and plead guilty? Is there like a right or wrong way to do it? Should you look a little somber when you're doing it? Should you have any emotion at all? I don't know. At that point, doesn't matter. Now, remember, he also fought to have all of the cases, the 7, not including Vergata, but the 7 original charges, he wanted all those cases severed, and he wanted them tried individually, which would have been 7 murder trials, right? Can you imagine how that process? Prosecutors like, no, this is a serial killer event. You're going for all at once. He fought that and did not win. They're like, no, this is a serial killer case, and we need to present it as such. They would have fought with if they had done that, right? Separated all the cases. Each case would have fought to keep the other cases out of the courtroom, 404B and all. You can't show he has passed. Hell, people in Arizona, well, the jury wasn't supposed to know Lori Vallow was already serving life sentence for murder. They never knew it in Arizona. Well, they weren't supposed to. They claimed they didn't. Can't let that in. Might make her look bad. And then that would cloud your judgment, right? So Rex didn't get none of that happening for him. Okay, so let me get the press conference pulled up by the district attorney there. He has really been hammering away at trying to get this conviction, making sure they have all their evidence, right? And enough evidence, and that it's all going to stick in court, and fighting to get those hairs in court, and all the things that needed to be done all the way up to trial if necessary. Rex is kind of like Kohberger. You can't win. What do? Kohberger's case, I think he didn't care if you won or lost. It was go time. Mother just had a different idea. That's all. Okay, Tierney, my opinion. Oh, there's quite a few of them standing on stage here. Okay, let me get this to the beginning. Wow. It's crazy when you move for a little bit, and then you think that the things you don't miss, and you move back, and you're like, oh, wait a minute, I forgot I didn't like that part. Like those big trucks when they ride by. I don't know why they bother me, but they always have. It's like, you're a bit noisy. Do you mind? I'm so far out in the country, and we don't get a lot of traffic, but when I do, it's usually a big truck, and they tend to be loud. It's like, you're intrusive to my ears. Go away. I know, I'm a little weird. Hang on, something happened to that feed. I had to pull up. It was like frozen. Okay. There we go. Now it's cooking. Well, what in the world is going on with that? Is it on right? It's a live press conference now, 'cause this thing is not. What in the world? Hold on one second, guys. Something is not quite right in my little world at the moment with my share screen. Like, it's not that hard. I just need this to go to the beginning. I don't know why it's not wanting to cooperate. It's acting crazy. I'm giving it a second, guys. It's just on my end. I haven't pulled the screen up yet because it's just sitting there spinning and it shouldn't be. They're like literally in the middle of the press conference, but it won't let me rewind. That's unusual, and I can't figure out why. Any other time you can do that. It just sits there and spins when I do it. It's crazy. Whose link am I even trying to watch? Hold on, that might be. Let me check something. Lord. Oh, is this like from their YouTube thing? Maybe that's why, because something. Yeah, I'm going to come back to that in a second because it's not letting me even move through it. And I don't want to start it when they're almost over. Or, I'm not doing that. I want it from the beginning or I don't want it at all. I don't like starting something at the tail end. I don't know why it won't allow you to go back. I'm trying to get it to go back, guys, but it is not happening. Okay, let me click here. Because I'm assuming this is coming straight out of his. Hang on. Hang on, guys. Thanks for bearing with me. I'm trying to make sure I'm not having a restream issue here, like just them alone. Something's not quite right back here. Let me figure it out. Oh, okay. So other places are all watching it live too, but I can't hear. We've got 3 different feeds with the same one. Let's see. Let me go straight to his. See if I can get it to work. Now, there we go. Here we go. Now, I think I fixed it. All right, so that took long enough. All right. I had to go straight to their channel and click and not click the link I was trying to use because something wasn't working properly. And it wasn't you, Rachel. It was something to do on the restream end with that link. It's crazy. Okay. So this is the press conference held this afternoon, I should say. Ray Tierney, the DA out there in Long Island, or in New York, they're prosecuting Rex Sherman's case. I'm going to start it, mute out, and go grab a fresh coffee, and I'll see you guys in the chat while we're watching this.
normal suburban dad, when in
Okay, let's see. Oh, thanks, Dolphin. This is the same one. This is Ray's YouTube channel. So we got the link to work, I think.
reality, all along, he was obsessively targeting innocent women for death. He identified these women, lured them into Nassau County, murdered them, and left their bodies in Suffolk County. He thought that by killing them, he could silence them forever and get away with murder. But he was wrong, because it was these victims, these women, who refused to stay silent. First, that silence was broken by the victims' families, who advocated for their loved ones and agitated for justice. Then, the noise grew louder through the ensuing investigation and examination of the evidence that the defendant left at or around the crime scenes, as well as on the bodies of the women themselves, that further told the stories of these victims and what had actually happened to them. It was this evidence that ultimately was put together by the task force that proved to be the defendant's undoing and led to the pleas of guilt in today's court proceeding. And it is in this way that these murders were solved. And while we in law enforcement, as well as our Suffolk County citizens, mourn the loss of these victims, we are also grateful to them and to their families, because without them, this defendant would have never been brought to justice and would still be walking amongst us. And he would still be portraying himself as that same harmless father next door, instead of what he is, a convicted murderer. Ultimately, this case is really about these victims and their stories. It is not about this defendant. And I speak for everyone in law enforcement, and when I say we are honored and thankful for being able to have played a small role in obtaining a small measure of justice for these families. For decades, this case stood out as a painful scar on the face of Suffolk County law enforcement, Suffolk County government, the citizens of Suffolk County, and the victims' families as well. However, with the defendant's pleas of guilt today, it means that for the first time since the deaths of these women, we can turn to all of these same people and say, Rex Heuermann will be held responsible for the 1993 murder of Sandra Castilla, the 1996 murder of Karen Vergata, the 2000 murder of Valerie Mack, the 2003 murder of Jessica Taylor, the 2007 murder of Maureen Brainard-Barnes, the 2009 murder of Melissa Barthelemy, the June 2009 murder of Megan Waterman, and the September 2010 murder of Ms. Costello. Despite this tragedy, there's a lot of different emotions, and I guess the word for today, despite the tragedy, despite all those emotions, is thankfulness. We are thankful. We have a lot to be thankful for, despite these emotions. First and foremost, we are thankful for the victims and the victims' families who told their stories, their loved ones' stories, and defended their loved ones' legacies. Without them, we would have never truly gotten to know those victims. My start in this case occurred before I took office. A homicide detective with the Suffolk County PD, Pat Portella, gave my phone number to Melissa and Amanda. Melissa is, of course, Maureen Brainard-Barnes' sister, and Amanda is Melissa Barthelemy's sister. And they spoke with me. We had a really good phone conversation. And during that phone conversation, I heard the pain and frustration in their voices. They wanted answers. They wanted closure. I told them that we were going to do things differently. It was going to be a new manner of doing things. First and foremost, we were going to form a task force, and we were going to bring all of the talents of all these people standing here to bear. and we were going to work together. We were going to not use this case as a political football to be kicked into the news stream on slow days or whenever it suited the political leader's purpose. We were going to be quiet. We were going to pretend as though it was business as usual in Suffolk County. And the reason why we were going to do that was because we knew what we were doing. We were playing to an audience of one. And that one person, of course, was the murderer. We wanted to lure that individual into a false sense of security. We wanted him to think he got away with this. And that was exactly what we did. And the reason why we wanted to do that is because when we solved this case and we had those arrest warrants and executed those search warrants, we wanted more evidence, and that's exactly what we got. So we were thankful for that. We were thankful we were able to bring this case to a close, but it started, our inspiration was these victims and their families. But those families were so much more to us. Through them, we truly got to know these victims. When we started, the victims were nothing but names on a blotter, black and white, writing on investigative reports. But once we spoke to the victims, they provided us with the color of these women, and we got to know them as the wonderful mothers, sisters, friends, and daughters that they were. And that inspired us even more to close this case, to come to a resolution. So again, first and foremost, we are thankful for those families. And I just want to individually mention all of the families. The Brainard-Barnes family, I already spoke with Melissa, but I want to thank Melissa and her husband Chris and their children, Marie, who is Maureen's mom, Nicolette and Dylan, who are Maureen's two children. We want to thank them for their support, not only of Maureen, but for our investigation as well. And we want to say, on behalf of Suffolk County, we're sorry. The Bartholomew family, Amanda, who's Melissa's sister, Lynn, her mom, and Jeff, Lynn's partner. We want to thank them as well. When this case started, it started with the grand. Well, it didn't start, but the charging started with the grand jury, and Amanda, Lynn, and Melissa came down and helped us with the grand jury. And I remember when Lynn came in, it was about a 2-day proceeding, and when Lynn first walked in, she appeared a certain way, and by the end of that second day, she looked completely different. You could see that having forced her to relive this, you could see the sadness in her face and in her eyes, and we're sorry for that. But without their cooperation, we wouldn't be here today. So to Amanda, Lynn, Jeff, and everyone in the Bartholomew family, we want to say thank you, and we want to say we're sorry. To the Waterman family, we have Megan's aunt, Liz, and we have her daughter, Lily. We want to thank them. We didn't get to know them until after the indictment, but again, the way that they stood by Megan and the way they supported us, we want to say to them, thank you, and we're sorry. To Amber Costello and her family, specifically Amber's sister Kim, we want to say thank you, and again, thank you for the support, and again, we're sorry for the loss of Amber. Valerie Mack, we met shortly before the indictment. We met Ed and Joanne Mack. Ed and Joanne Mack were foster parents and then the adopted parents of Valerie, and they gave Valerie the only happy home she ever knew, and really the only support she probably ever knew in her life. Meeting with them, they're incredibly special people. They're heroes. We also got to know Valerie's sister Angela and her son Aaron. Again, equally wonderful people. So to them, we want to say thank you, and we're sorry. Jessica Taylor, we got to know Jessica's mom, Liz, after the indictment. We got to know Jessica's cousin, Jasmine. And right after the initial indictment of the first 3 victims, Jasmine came to us on behalf of Liz and said, please help us. Please find out what happened to Jessica. And at that time, we didn't have enough. And we said, look, we're going to work and we're going to try to get there, and we're going to work as hard as we can. Please, trust us. And, Jasmine, on behalf of Liz, said they would do just that. So to Jasmine and Liz, I want to say thank you. And again, we're sorry. To the Vergata family, Karen Vergata, we recently went, I did, I know members of the Suffolk County PD had already spoken to the family, but my team recently went and we saw Eric and Gary, who were Karen's sons. Gary's not here today, but we got to meet Gary, and I know Gary's watching, so we want to say hello to Gary. Eric's here. We want to thank Eric, and again, we want to thank you and tell them how much we admire them for supporting their mom and for supporting us. And again, we want to say we're sorry. On behalf of all of Suffolk County, we're sorry for Karen's passing. The Castilla family, Cassandra Castilla. We had the opportunity shortly before the indictment to meet with Ariel, who's the husband of Ruth, and Ruth is Sandra's sister. Again, wonderful people who really stood by and supported Sandra. So we want to thank them for that. We want to thank them for their support of our investigation, and on behalf of Suffolk County, we're sorry. So that's the family. Again, they inspired us. They're the reason why we do what we do. Today was a very special day for us in law enforcement because it gave us the opportunity to turn to these victims and their families and say, listen, we told you we were going to work really hard. We told you we were going to do everything we can to bring closure to you. And that's why we work in law enforcement. And, we were able to do that to a small measure today. So we're happy for that. And again, so thankful for them. In addition to our victims' families, we have our law enforcement family. And, this case was, brought home by a task force that brought to bear the talents of a number of really great investigators from a lot of really great agencies. And again, so thankful to be able to have worked with so many talented people. It's not really, some people will say, well, this person solved Gilgo or that person solved Gilgo. That's not it at all. It was so many different pieces from so many different people, starting back in 1993 and culminating all the way through 2021. So again, and really beyond actually. So again, so thankful for the great work. First and foremost, I have to thank my chief investigator, Rich Zacharies. I've been doing this for 30 years. I've had the benefit of working with truly the best investigators in the country and in the world. Rich is the finest investigator I've ever worked for and worked with. I do sometimes feel as though I work for him. But he was the architect of our grand jury. He put together our grand jury. And I think there's, whether it's an attorney or an investigator, I think there are very few people who could have done that logistically. And so to Rich, I want to say thank you. To our detective investigators, our analysts, again, all great. And I'm gonna mention a lot of people, and it's gonna, because it's not exciting to mention a lot of people, but they deserve mention. So I'm gonna mention them. We're gonna go through everyone, but not everyone, but a lot of people. We're gonna talk about our phone experts, Justin Doolittle and John Primiano. Unbelievable work in this case and so many others. Our analysts, Kaylee Homer, Erin Hansen. Unbelievable work combing through this evidence, this miles of evidence. And that's just to name a few. They're indicative of so many more. Our law enforcement partners, we had our DA people, our PD, our FBI, our New York State Police, our Suffolk County Sheriff's Office, our core people, Rory Forrestal, a DI. I hired Rory. He was supposed to come in and help us with our child abuse section, but he got waylaid in here, and he worked like heck for us and did a great job. We're so thankful for Rory. For Suffolk County PD, our homicide guys who are still with the task force today, Chris Calvaca and Scott Aquilina, great individuals, great investigators. Thank you so much, Chris, Scott. We We had Jimmy Watson, who worked with us, no longer with us. He's in Nassau. FBI agent Craig Mateo, Special Agent Craig Mateo. Everybody's young, I guess, compared to me, but I see him as a young guy, really talented agent, really great guy, really, really helpful. Investigator Tiffany Attai with the state police. Again, along with Rory, Aaron, and Kaylee, really, plunged into the evidence in this case and really helped us out. She was also the one who did the infamous avalanche search. So we want to thank Tiffany for all of the work and all the work that they all did. We have a number of retired task force and former law enforcement officers with us today. We invited them, and I saw John Santoro, I saw Donna Giordano, Pat Albergo, just to name a few. And we wanted to invite those retired members because, again, there was a lot of talk about this case, a lot of talk about, no one cared about the women, who were murdered in this case. That nothing could be further from the truth. I'll talk about Pat Alberga. He worked Jessica Taylor's case. He retired. When we had brought enough evidence to bring that case together, we called Pat, and he came to help us testify. Actually, he and Donna Giordano testified for us. But when Pat Albergo, who's retired, came in, he sort of walked through the door like a kid, like a little kid walking down the stairs during Christmas. And he's like, "Why am I here?" And I'm like, "Because we're going to charge this case." He was thrilled, and that attitude is indicative of every single one of all these agencies. So grateful to work with all of these people, both past and present. Our ADAs, Nick Santamartino, Andrew Lee, Michelle Haddad, Larry Opizzo, God help them, right? They get to know what I'm really like. And so they were with us right from the very beginning, through the grand jury and through today. Great job by them. I want to thank them. My chief assistant, Alan Bodie, he really, along with Rich and I, we really thought a lot about how we were going to go forward with this case and planned a lot of things, from the grand jury. And he was really helpful with that. And also, he ran the office while I was running around pretending to be a lawyer. Our discovery expediters, our analysts, our paralegals, everyone. And that's just us. So now, we come to the Suffolk County PD, and, I'll talk a lot about Suffolk County PD was, with us every step of the way. Our police commissioner, Catalina, our chief of department, Bill Dougherty, our chief of detectives, Sean Barron, a whole host of other people are with us today. We have our Suffolk County Sheriff, Errol Toulon with us, as well as Undersheriff Kevin Heavey, as well as Undersheriff John Becker. We really want to thank those two agencies. We want to thank Errol Toulon, and we want to thank Police Commissioner Catalina. They're two phenomenal partners. I can say this about Suffolk County and Suffolk County citizens when it comes to Police Commissioner Catalina and Sheriff Toulon. You are all in wonderful company. In addition, with regard to our Sheriff's Department, they provided logistics and traffic and sex trafficking related intel throughout our interviews, helped us to identify a lot of potential interviews of inmates and other people who had been sex trafficked. So we want to thank Suffolk County Sheriff for that. With regard, we also have the FBI here. We have Special Agent in Charge Michael Raffa, who is the FBI New York Criminal Division. So Special Agent in Charge Raffa is in charge of the criminal division of the FBI in New York State. We want to thank Michael for coming in. We want to thank Supervisory Senior Resident Agent Don Osbacher, who's been with us from the very beginning. We want to thank them for lending us their expertise, and more importantly, their people. The cell phone analysis that we all heard about, that was done by the CAST, or cellular. The FBI CAST stands for Cellular Analysis Survey Team, and specifically Special Agents Eric Perry and Mike Sabrick. Really unbelievable work by them. Eric, he provided the drive time records, so those boxes, those areas of interest in Manhattan and in Massapequa Park. That was developed because in 2011, Eric Perry drove with equipment through every single neighborhood.
Oh, we know all about that equipment. I do. Took a big old deep dive into that little gadget they put in the back seat. And we have to make sure it's calibrated properly. And we get our drive time.
And extensively mapped the cell phone coverage in those areas and allowed us with specificity to be able to develop these areas of interest. That had to be done in 2011. The landscape changed, the cell sites changed, after Superstorm Sandy, the geography changed. So, we went back to 2011, and that work that Eric did, and just phenomenal. So we want to thank the FBI. We want to thank Eric Perry and Mike Sabrick. They both created maps for us to use in the grand jury. They testified.
I'd like to see those maps and all this stuff they did bring before the grand jury, right? And Butterfly, yeah, will we ever get to see any more of the evidence at some point? I don't know about New York. I've never, they don't like it showing things over there, so I don't know what all they'll put out eventually. But I got a feeling, people are going to do the FOIAs. So, I don't know what New York law is on FOIA requests. If it's crazy like Pennsylvania, you got 2 days to get it in or else kind of thing. Because not everybody's like Florida, and I always forget that. Like, I can call right now, hey, I want to FOIA request this. You got it. That ain't that way in every state. But people are already, they're, the Sinister podcast, they're all over this kind of stuff. Laura Engel, Sarge, Jack Leone, they are all, I know they've already got FOIAs sent out. So we'll see what we do get our hands on, guys. We'll see.
In the grand jury, as well as John Primiano from my office with the help of Justin Doolittle, and just great work. With regard to forensics in this case, I think I'd said earlier that IgG, investigative genetic genealogy, did not play a role in this case. I was wrong. I had forgotten that IgG was used to identify victim Valerie Mack prior to my involvement in the case. So I want to thank the FBI and Lori Giordano for that. They also, with us, helped to identify Karen Vergata. So again, thank you. FBI.
Yeah, because investigative genetic genealogy is not what captured Rex Heuermann like it did Kohberger, right? They did follow Rex and get his pizza crust that one day to see if it matched DNA off their victims, right? But it wasn't, they didn't find him because of IgG. They knew who he was already.
They provided surveillance.
I'm sure they were trying to get Kohberger's too, but he's out there wearing gloves and mask and looking all over his shoulders and stuff. He wasn't about to leave a stitch of DNA anywhere.
Of the defendant, both in the city and on Long Island, and their surveillance team. I
just thought about something. When Rex was writing his planning document and he accounted for the future and the DNA, he didn't think twice about throwing out that pizza that day. He didn't think he was on their radar. DNA got him in the end. That one thing he was very concerned about. Gotcha. Too bad it won't work in Nancy Guthrie's case. Maybe it will eventually.
Nervous. I'd never met these guys. I'd worked with them as a federal prosecutor, but that was a high risk, high reward thing. If they get made, everything comes down. If they get detected, but they weren't detected. Not only did they follow the defendant, but they recovered the abandonment samples. So we want to thank them. Suffolk County PD, they recovered DNA from the defendant's house. We want to thank the homicide squad for that. And again, working together, we were able to really develop that DNA evidence. So we want to thank them. Also, we provided, the FBI provided a searchable account, digitalized this entire file for us. So we want to thank the FBI for that. New York State Police. Today we have Major Chris Casal who's the troop commander of Troop L. We have Captain Chris Jean, who works in Troop L as well. Again, they provided Tiffany Atai to our task force, who was integral to our success. They provided assistance to search warrants, of all the search warrants with regard to this case in all the various locations. They were on the scene with our Suffolk County Police Department gathering evidence. They transported evidence from the house to Suffolk County property, along again with Suffolk County PD. The avalanche truck, they transported from South Carolina to our lab. There was a Ram Charger from Pennsylvania that was associated with the Sandra Castilla case. State troopers took that from Pennsylvania.
So they got her car, but the avalanche he's talking about was Rex Heuermann's original truck that he did a lot of his killing in. He gave that truck to his brother out in North Carolina and got himself a new Chevy Avalanche. When they realized what he had done, they went and got the truck from his brother's. Excuse me, we need your brother's old truck. Could hold key DNA evidence.
Pennsylvania.
Rex liked those avalanches. You wouldn't catch me in one. Murder truck.
Brought it to our lab. We were able to develop evidence linking that truck to the murder of Karen Vergata. We want to thank them. They provided us with K-9 units along with the NYPD, Suffolk County PD. I want to thank all of those agencies. I want to thank Nassau for helping us with the search warrant. I want to thank Nassau County DA's office for helping us with the prosecution of the weapons case. Our Suffolk County Crime Lab, we want to thank them. Tremendous work. I particularly, is Clyde here? Where's Clyde? Clyde, raise your hand. Where's Clyde?
Where's Clyde?
All right, Clyde's all the way in the back as usual, hiding. So Clyde was the hair analyst in this case. He collected hairs from all the victims in this case, save for Jessica Taylor. And he pushed the PD and he pushed our office to send certain hairs out for mitochondrial and then later nuclear DNA testing. And when we started this case, he was working with Nick Santomartino in my office, and he was recalling with great specificity certain hairs of interest that he thought were really going to bear fruit. And I was talking to Nick, and I was saying, does this guy really, was he this meticulous? Is he this sure? And so Nick said, sit down with him, sit down with Clyde. And we sat down with Clyde, and, to go to a crime scene, in the 2000s and not have the capability to get nuclear DNA, but yet to be so precise and exact in gathering evidence, cataloging the evidence, safeguarding the evidence, and then being able to advocate for its use. Without Clyde, we probably wouldn't have gotten that evidence. So, Clyde's retired now, but we really want to thank Clyde.
Thank you, Clyde, for your due diligence. Got a couple of hairs out of Indiana I would love tested now.
Bob Jenna, he collected hairs on the Castilla case. He recovered 2 hairs. He was a former chief of Suffolk County Crime Lab. He's retired. He collected 2 hairs on Sandra Castilla, did a great job, similar to Clyde. Don Doler, the former chief, he was the chief of the lab when we started this. Great job. We want to thank him. Connie Dinkle is the current chief of the lab, and she did a great job and continues to do a great job. We want to thank them. Bob Bauman, Helen Wong, Liz Sepulveda, Kerry Anito, Craig Hamer, all of these forensic scientists did a fantastic job, and we want to thank them. Again, they were in the house with our law enforcement partners, gathering this evidence meticulously, precisely, and without. This. I was thinking about this. This isn't a cast of hundreds. When you look at when you bring all this together, it's a cast of thousands. So we want to thank all of those individuals. Office of Chief Medical Examiner, City of New York, Brad Adams, Mark Desire, and Neha Desai. Brad Adams was the anthropologist. He identified the Gilgo 4 He was the one who urged investigators to go back after the discovery of Melissa Barthelemy, which resulted in the discovery of the 3 other victims known as the Gilgo Four. Mark Desire is the assistant director of biology of the lab. He was our liaison. He made all of his people available to us. Ms. Desai, she testified for us in the grand jury. Her DNA analysis led to the identification of the Gilgo Beach Four. Again, she testified in the grand jury. A fantastic job. Our outside experts, mitotyping technologies, Gloria Dimmick and Jenna Manges. Gloria testified first in the grand jury. Fantastic scientist, fantastic person. Astria Forensic, Dr. Ed Green, Dr. Christina Valencia.
That's a good question, Dolphin. None of us could figure it out. He's so big, right? He is such a giant. Was it the only thing he felt comfortable in? My ex-husband is a huge guy. We couldn't have a small car. You know what I mean? So I don't know if that played a part in it, but he was sure certain no one was ever going to tie him back to that truck, wasn't he?
Kelly Harkins Kincaid, those scientists with Astria are at the very top of their field, and they did something revolutionary in this case, and they've set the bar high going forward, and we're going to be able to utilize this technology going forward to solve a great many cases. So we want to thank Astrea Forensics, and I want to tell you, if you think you're smart, you should spend a week with Dr. Green, and then suddenly you realize maybe you're not as smart as you think you are. At least that's the sense I got after spending time with all those great scientists. NYPD, again, they helped us with the cadaver search in April of 2025. We had individuals from their TARU unit testify in the grand jury with regard to phone calls made by the defendant. They helped us to attain records, missing person records involving in this case, spanning back years and years. Again, at a drop of a hat, even though it wasn't their case, they came in and helped us. Scarborough Police Department, with regard to Megan Waterman. The Megan Waterman case came in as a missing person case, and it went across the desk of a detective, Don Blatchford, who's here with us today. And Don, gathered the evidence and really did everything he could to try to locate Megan. And when the trail took him to Suffolk County, he didn't stop. He continued to help us in our investigation. He brought the Waterman family to Long Island for interviews and for court proceedings. He testified in the grand jury, and he's had a long, illustrious career in Maine. He's going to retire, but he held off his retirement to see this case through. And again, I talked about the Suffolk County PD guys who cared about these victims. Don Blatchford is another individual who cares about these victims, like all of the people in law enforcement. So we want to thank them. United States Secret Service, with the massive digital evidence in this case and their forensic science division, all of the massive amount of digital evidence, they helped us process it. We had their forensic science division, we recovered a Bounty paper towel off of the crime scene of Megan Waterman. They processed that and they compared that to the same Bounty towel that we recovered in Mendon. They matched.
Whoa, your Bounty towel matched. That's crazy.
And this was a memento that we argued the defendant kept. Was a would have been a key piece of evidence. So we want to thank the Secret Service for that. The telephone carriers, Verizon, T-Mobile, Sprint, Nextel, and AT&T. Again, phone records spanning back to 1993. We've got to get those records in evidence. Again, Rich Zachary's was integral in this, but they went above and beyond they went above and beyond for us because they knew this case was important. We want to thank them.
So, trying to go back that far to dig into phone records. How much scratching had to occur there to get all that back, right? Wow.
With regard to the court staff, Judge Mazie and his staff, I want to thank them for their courtesies. And I want to thank them for all that they did in their professionalism. And this is a difficult case, and they handled it with aplomb. So, I'm going to turn it over to our partners, but just to clarify regarding the plea of guilt, the defendant has pled guilty to 3 counts of murder in the first degree pertaining to the murders of Melissa Bartholomew, Megan Waterman, and all of those 3 individuals were killed within 18 months between July of 2009 and September of 2010. That enabled us, the proximity of those murders enabled us to charge those 3 murder 1 counts. In addition to the sentences of that is life without the possibility of parole. With regard to the other 4 victims, they pled guilty to 4 counts of murder in the second degree. That's Sandra Castilla, Maureen Brainard-Barnes, Valerie Mack, and Jessica Taylor. Those sentences, 25 to life, to run consecutive to each other and to the murder 1 charges. This defendant has additionally agreed to accept responsibility for the murder of Karen Vergata. And again, the sentence will be 25 years to life without the possibility of parole on the first 3 and 25 to life on the last 4, all of which is going to run consecutive. So we have 3 life without parole sentences and 4 25 to life sentences, all to run consecutive. So, with that, I'm going to turn it over to our law enforcement partners. So I'm just going to leave with this. This case closes and another one opens. There are still, bodies on that beach. There are still bodies in Suffolk County. There's no rest for the weary. We are going to continue to work with our partners and to try to obtain closure for as many families as we can. Thank you very much, and we're going to call up Police Commissioner Catalina.
I wonder how many they actually suspect him of right now, that they know of, right? That there's a possibility, but we don't have any evidence. May not even have an ID on someone yet. But there was a lot of land out there where he was taking his victims between Gilgo and Davis Beach and Tobay Beach and all the other places he was choosing to go before he really began to use Gilgo as his main dumping ground. I don't know what all will turn up. Who knows what he'll cop to once he starts talking to the behavioral unit. And let me tell you, when a guy is going to come out and say, okay, I'm going to plead guilty, I'm not going to automatically assume he's going to go lie to the BAU, because I'm hoping that the BAU has some people in place that can tell if a guy's lying to me. You know what I mean? They're not dummies. They're experts in the field, or they should be. So he should have and they like to take credit. Here's the thing. Do your research on these serial killers. They love taking credit for their work. They do not mind sharing matter-of-factly their work. Not all of them are like that. Many of them are. Many of them have come out and spoke very matter-of-factly about what I did, how I did it, and why I did it. Whether it makes sense to you or not, that's what they say, right? And it's true. So why would I assume this guy is not going to tell the truth? He gets nothing out of it, right? They didn't make a deal with Rex Sherman. If you talk to the BAU, well, we'll shave 5 years off, or we'll give you all with possibility of parole, and you be a good boy and it may happen. No, he's doing it because he wants to, right? Mama Luke. Who? Who's Mama Luke, Jet? Is that a typo? What am I seeing? Yeah, Dolphin, because they claim she was always out of town during every single time he was committing a murder. Every single time. We have records, right? If you can pinpoint of the 7 victims he's been charged with, right? We'll go ahead and include 8, Karen. the times you think he was doing this, y'all can see through financial records she was out of town. They claim they can. That's how they know that. So what about any more victims that turn up that they is she out of town for those unforeseen victims yet you've yet to discover? Yeah. Well, there's crazy stuff happening. All right. I'll let this finish playing a little bit. It's getting they're going to bring up some other cops, I guess, to talk about how good they all are. Oh, Mama Luke, I don't know slang. I'm I'm an old person, guys. I just realized that the other day. I said something to my kid and I forgot what it was, and the way he looked at me, I was like, "Oh, that's like really old school, huh?" He's like, "Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about." And it dawned on me, wow, I'm not as cool and hip as I once was. Rachel says you can't tell me she didn't know something was going on. Or is she one of those women, Rachel? Like millions, I'm not going to say millions, I hope it ain't like what thousands of women who will sit there in their chair and ignore everything that man's doing. No matter what it is, we're just going to ignore it. Mama said if I don't give it life, it's not happening. I need to ignore what that man's doing. He's just a man, right? I got a roof over my head. I got food in the kitchen. My babies are good. So we just going to ignore that man. That still happens in America right now to this day. It's happening right now somewhere. Maybe to one of y'all. I don't know. Were we all that girl at one point in our lives? Maybe. When you were 21, maybe. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Was she one of those women that suspected my husband's creepy, but I don't know why? Or were they all creepy, right? Or did she ignore it? Or did she participate? Because I'm telling you, I believe Vergata was the victim, and I cannot find my document. And I have scoured for it. I don't know what Ray, not Tierney here, but John Ray has done with it. So there's a document that came out that John Ray interviewed a lady who was on a date with a cop back in New York, back in the day. They're in a club and they see a flyer for swingers. They take the phone number and the address and they go. When they get there, along the way, they pick up another woman who was a sex worker. She joins now the cop and his girlfriend. They go to this swinger location. It's Rex Heuermann's house. According to the affidavit, when they go in, it is now the cop, the girlfriend, and the girl they picked up, who happened to be just freshly out of jail. The cop knows her, right? Now they're all at the house. Asa, his wife, is right there. One of the women's black. Asa's not into the black lady at all and got an attitude, according to the lady who signed the affidavit. So was she a part of the swinging? But that's about as far as it went. There's a lot of swingers out there. I'm not one of them. I don't need extra people in my bed or knowing you. I don't know. I don't roll that way. But apparently, it's acceptable today. You know, because we're all so evolved and happy. We need to be in these open, weird shit relationships that society is now trying to normalize. Yeah. Was Asa a part of it? We'll have to. I'm still trying to find the document. I had it. I've read it live. I think I read part of it during that members only live we did. I got to go back and do some research on it because I've tried to find it. I don't know what the hell I did with it or where I stuck that document. It's crazy. All right, so I'm going to let him talk a little bit more. Let him bring out the couple of cops. I don't want to be rude and just cut them off, but I'm about to because we're going to look at some other stuff as well.
Thank you.
Come up and give us like evidence stuff, not just come pat everybody on the back. We great job, so thank you for doing it.
Attorney Tierney, the calm, serene, almost grandfatherly image that Rex Heuermann portrayed since his arrest was a lie. and quite frankly, an insult to both law enforcement, but more importantly, the families that had to endure that during every court appearance over the last 2.5 years. Today, he was exposed for exactly what he is, a sadistic, soulless, murderous monster. And thankfully, everybody today got to see that. I want to thank all of the members of law enforcement who were a part of this. I don't have as long a list as Ray, but most importantly, I want to thank the Suffolk County Police Department, both past and present. We have many retirees who came out here, participated in this case because, like Ray said, they cared, and this was a part of them for a long time. All of our law enforcement partners, everybody who was involved in this task force, really did, really an amazing, amazing job. So thank you to everybody who was involved in this. And to the families, no one can ever replace the lives that were taken from all of you, and way too often they were way too young. But, we hope that this brings some measure of solace to you. So, thank you, and thank you for all your cooperation.
Next, we'll hear from Sheriff Toulon.
I want to thank the district attorney and this entire task force for the hard work that they've done over the last 2.5 years. Today's plea delivers a measure of justice to families who have waited decades for answers after unimaginable loss. While nothing can bring the loved ones back, I am proud we were able to hold Rex Heuermann accountable. Again, thanking the DA and the Police Commission and all the men and women who worked tirelessly. I also want to thank my staff, to uproot an entire jail security system to accommodate an individual of this magnitude. Over the last 2.5 years, our staff has done a phenomenal job in our Riverhead facility where he's been housed, and also the staff that has been assigned to our anti-trafficking initiative. And since his arrest in 2023, my priority has been ensuring that he was safely housed in our correctional facilities because justice needed to be served in the courts and not in our jails. This responsibility is one for me and my officers who have taken very seriously. And I've spent my entire career in corrections overseeing some of the most notorious individuals, and what has been the most alarming is how ordinary Heuermann has been. It's a chilling reminder that those capable of horrific acts can often go unnoticed, and another reminder of how much great investigative work has been done to finally apprehend and have a plea today. Most importantly, today is about the victims and their families. You have endured profound loss and years without answers. We hope this guilty plea brings all of you some peace and closure. Our thoughts remain with you and your loved ones today and always. Thank you.
Next, we'll hear from Special Agent in Charge of the FBI, Rafa.
Thank you. Good afternoon. I'm Michael Rada, the Special Agent in Charge of FBI New York Field Office Criminal Division. I'm proud to stand alongside Suffolk County Police Department Commissioner Kevin Catalina, Suffolk County District Attorney Tierney, Suffolk County Sheriff Toulon, to announce the plea of Rex Heuermann, the Gilgo Beach serial killer. Today's announcement highlights the importance of partnerships and perseverance. For decades, the families of these women have been left searching for answers and waiting for justice. This ends today because these agencies before you never gave up. The detectives, the troopers, the agents tirelessly chased every lead and left no stone unturned. In 2011, FBI New York began collaborating with the Suffolk County Police Department to find out who was responsible for these cold-blooded murders. Our office leveraged many resources, some of which have been described already, over the years to include our CAST, our cellular analysis survey teams, behavior analysis teams, evidence response teams, the surveillance groups, forensic and document lab teams at Quantico, and investigative genealogy tools to identify some of Heuermann's victims and help Suffolk County Police piece this puzzle together. The close coordination across every agency ensured that a monster lurking in our community was held accountable for his heinous crimes. While we'll never be able to fill the holes, I hope that today brings a small sense of closure.
FBI is talking about the investigative genealogy again because we're moving it right into the mainstream. Buckle up, buttercups.
Once again, I'd like to thank our state and local partners for their unwavering determination and investigative grit, and that includes the retired agents, detectives, and troopers that are here today. To see them sitting in that courtroom today in the back of that room was really awe-inspiring. To see their commitment to justice doesn't end when they hand in their badge and gun when they retire. Finally, thank you to the agents and analysts of FBI New York Long Island Safe Streets Task Force, the Special Operations Group, our CAST folks, Investigative Genealogy Program folks, and I'd really like to thank DA Tierney and your office for
Investigative Genealogy Program, folks. Tell me more, sir.
for what you did and the resolve that you showed in this case. Just tremendous. Thank you all.
I wonder if that was the office they perfected during the Brian Koberger investigation.
So, Zach, Rafa has just been appointed from New Jersey to head the New York office, and we thank him for coming today, and we're really looking forward to continuing our great relationship with the FBI and our federal partners. Last but not least, we're going to hear from the state troopers and Chris Casal. Chris Casal was with us. Then he went to I believe Albany or New York City. He's back with us. We couldn't be happier, but he's going to say a few words.
Thank you, DA Tierney. I'm Major Christopher Casal. I served as the Troop Commander for the New York State Police, Troop L. Today marks a significant moment for Long Island and for the families who have endured unimaginable loss for many years. The guilty plea of Rex Heuermann represents a measure of accountability in a case that has deeply impacted our communities. While this brings us closer to justice, it does not lessen the pain suffered by the victims and their loved ones. This outcome is a result of years of persistent investigative work and strong collaboration among our law enforcement partners who made up the Gilgo Beach Homicide Task Force, and I commend all of them for their dedication and extraordinary work on this case. It reflects an unwavering commitment to our mission to never forget the victims and to continue pursuing justice, regardless of how much time has passed. This case not only underscores the importance of coordination across agencies, but the role of advancements in forensic science, technology, and intelligence sharing. Today is not a day of celebration, it is a day of reflection, accountability, and remembrance. We honor the victims and stand with their families who have shown extraordinary strength and resilience. The state police and all the agencies you see represented here remain committed to serving our communities and to the continued pursuit of justice for every case that is entrusted to us. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. And now that you're back, we look forward to resuming our great relationship with you. Obviously, we have a lot of victims' families here. I believe that we are going to, Gloria Allred represents a number of those victims, and I think they asked for Gloria to come forward and make a statement on behalf of many of the victims. So we'll call Ms. Allred.
Well, here comes Miss Gloria. It's about to get hot. Give her a minute.
Thank you. I'm attorney Gloria Allred, and I represent a number of the family members who suffered the terrible fate of the tragedy that was inflicted on their loved one. Today, Rex Heuermann, who thought he had the perfect blueprint and plan for serial murder, pled guilty to the murder of 8 young women. Some of these murder victims were young mothers just trying to earn a little extra money to support their children. Because many did not have funds to go to college or get a decent job that would help them to provide adequate support for their children, they turned to sex work in order to help their families. It wasn't what they wanted to do, but it was what they felt forced to do because they had no meaningful alternatives. Some wanted to help their parents their grandparents, and their loved ones. Some just wanted to survive in this difficult and challenging world. Little did they know that the defendant, Rex Heuermann, did not care about their hopes and dreams, or that they had families and friends who loved them. He appeared to care only for himself and executing what he thought was his perfect blueprint for murder. The evidence gathered and articulated in the prosecutor's response to the defendant's bail application demonstrated that the defendant had a, quote, planning document, end quote, utilized by Heuermann to methodically blueprint and plan out his kills. And those are quotes from the bail application. He also believed he had a perfect plan to avoid collection of evidence against him and to evade capture by law enforcement. However, what he had thought was his perfect blueprint for serial murder did not take into account the courage and the persistence of the murder victims' family members who refused to give up until the murderer of their loved ones was found, convicted, and sent to prison for the rest of his life without the possibility of parole. Many of the murder victims' family members became the voices of their loved ones, crying out for them not to be ignored and forgotten, and demanding justice for them. Many of those family members whom I represent are here today. It was bittersweet for them to be in court and hear the defendant plead guilty to the murder of their loved one and the manner of their death. But the truth was important to them, and they heard it today. Last week, they were faced with a difficult question. Did they agree with the Suffolk County District Attorney's decision to agree to accept the defendant's plea of guilty in lieu of trial? Or would they have preferred that a trial take place so that they could hear all of the evidence that the prosecutor would seek to admit against the defendant? In a few moments, you will hear their answers to that question. And I will ask them to come up to the microphone, or if they would prefer to stay where they are, they can answer from there. In no particular order. Family members of Megan Waterman, please come forward and state your name and relationship to Megan Waterman. Elizabeth Meserve is her aunt. A little louder, please, Elizabeth. Or can you come up here? Thank you.
So my name is Elizabeth Meserve. I'm Megan Waterman's aunt, and I helped to raise her daughter. And on behalf of Megan, we definitely accept the plea.
Thank you. And also, we have with us Megan's daughter, Liliana Waterman. Oh, okay, good.
Where'd that dude come from? He freaked me out.
Thank you.
My name is Liliana Waterman. I am the daughter of Megan Waterman, and on behalf of her and my aunt and all of our family back home, we do accept, and we are very, very thankful for everything that they've done for us.
Thank you.
Aww.
Family members of Melissa Bartholomew, please come forward and state your name and relationship to Melissa Bartholomew. Lynn Bartholomew, mother? No? Okay. Amanda Funderburg, sister?
I'm Elizabeth Keel. I'm Jessica Taylor's mother. And I am glad that this is over as far as him pleading guilty. It took a big chunk of stress off of me and my family.
And you accept that the plea?
Oh, yes, I accept the plea wholeheartedly.
Thank you so much. And then we have Jasmine Robinson, who is a cousin of Jessica Taylor, victim Jessica Taylor. She okay? Family members of Maureen Brainard-Barnes, please come forward and state your name and relationship to Maureen Brainard-Barnes. Missy Khan's sister. Nicolette Brainard-Barnes' daughter. Dylan Haggett, son. This is Nicolette.
I am Nicolette Brainard-Barnes, the daughter of Maureen Brainard-Barnes, and on behalf of my mother, I accept this plea.
Dylan Haggett.
I am Dylan Haggett, the son of Maureen Brainard-Barnes, and I accept the plea.
Thank you. So I think we have everyone that I represent. If there's anyone I don't represent who would like to say something, feel free to come forward. Okay. The defendant's plan to get away with the murders he committed was also unsuccessful. Okay, good. Thank you so much. Okay, I could actually just use this. Thank you. Somebody else. Oh, good. Just say your name, please.
I'm Diane Doherty, and I'm the mother of Karen's sons, Eric and Gary. And I just want to say I'm thankful that we came to a conclusion that brought peace to everybody. Thank you.
Well said. Thank you. Okay. Anyone else? Yes, you will. Okay, good. Thank you. The defendant's plan to get away with the murders he committed was also unsuccessful because many law enforcement officers who participated in this massive investigation were so dedicated. We would like to thank each and every one of you who contributed to bringing the defendant to justice. We deeply appreciate you and your dedication to finding, testing, and preserving evidence for this case. The result today would never have been achieved without your hard work and sacrifice. Even if we cannot meet and thank each one of you in person, please know that your efforts on behalf of the families, loved ones, are respected and appreciated. We look forward to thanking as many of you as possible after the time of the sentencing in June. The journey to justice has been painful for each and every family member who I represent. In conclusion, Melissa Khan, also known as Missy, would like to share her feelings about this day and the almost 2 decades in which she has sought justice for her sister, Maureen Brainard-Barnes. Missy.
Of course you can,
perfect.
sure.
Thank you.
Would you like to use this?
We'll see.
Yeah, okay.
Hello. Okay. Hi, my name's Melissa Can. Everybody calls me Missy, and I'm the sister of Maureen Brainard-Barnes, and this is my family, well, some of it. First, I want to begin by thanking the District Attorney, his office, the detectives, the FBI, the New York State Police, and the entire task force. For years, they never stopped. They carried this case with determination and heart, and our family will forever be grateful. We are forever thankful for the work that led us here. Finally, a sense of relief. The guilty plea brings solace, and I like to thank everyone who had a part in that fight for justice. Thank you to our lawyer, Gloria Allred. I also would like to thank the media for continuing to keep this case in the public eye. Today is not about the person responsible. Today is about the women's lives who were stolen. It is about their voices, their future, and their families, the love that still surrounds them. They are the reason why we are here. 19 years, I lived in the space between heartbreak and hope. Throughout these years, I searched for answer, for truth, for justice. There were moments when the weight felt unbearable, but I never gave up. Maureen was never forgotten, not for a single moment. From the day she went missing until today, she has been carried in every breath, every memory, every fight for answers. This has been a long journey of hope that one day we would stand here and say her name with justice beside it. Today, that long, painful journey brings us to this moment. Our mission, our promise to Maureen, is finally met with accountability. For Melissa's, Megan's, Amber's, Jessica's, Valerie's, Sandra's, and Karen's family, I stand with you in deep love and understanding. No one should ever have to walk this path, yet here we all are, connected by loss, by strength, and the unbreakable bond of our loved ones. The bond some of us has created has been one that is unique in a sense that it did not form from a previous friendship or blood. It was created by trying to pick up the pieces of our world that had shattered in tragedy, and I am so grateful for us. To every family out there still searching, still waiting, still holding on, please do not give up hope. Even when it feels impossible, even when the years pass and the silence grow heavy, keep going. Your loved ones matter. They are not forgotten, and one day answers can come. Finally, to Maureen, the promise I made to you so long ago was simple. Sorry. I would never stop searching for justice for you. Through every year, every setback, every unanswered question, I carried you with me, and I kept that promise. And today, it has been done. Justice has finally found its way to you. Your voice was never silenced, your story never forgotten, and your life will always be more than the tragedy that took you. This moment is not the end, but a reminder that love endures, truth prevails, and hope never fades, because even in the darkest moments, justice will find its way. Thank you.
The victims will not be answering questions. I call them the victims because they are also victims, even though they are.
Dolphin, he pled guilty to all of his charges that they had against him. And then the 8th victim, they didn't charge him with her murder, but he copped to it during allocution. So everything they had him charged with, he has pled guilty to all of it. And according to Brian Enton's tweet from we have known this most of the day because the information was coming out, but according to Brian's tweet, part of the plea deal was for Heuermann to work with the BAU unit for the FBI. And then he goes on to say, I wonder what law enforcement could have learned if this was also a requirement in the Brian Kohberger plea deal. I do not know, sir, but great minds think alike, don't they?
Family of murder victims. I can take one question. And if there are none, yes, sir. Could you speak up a little, please? Not much. Yeah. Yeah.
I can't even hear any of the questions that they're asking her at that point. We're going to take a look at some of the other stuff here. What is that keeping that screen up? There we go. Oh my, I'm having such a delayed reaction back here. I have to keep wondering, and I've been thinking this for some time, because I tried so hard to give benefit of the doubt. But Mr. Idaho prosecutor Bill Thompson, you're so quick to allow Brian Koberger to jump to a plea deal without any pressure from him to say anything at all. I wonder why. Was there the only stipulation he did want is you can't come back later and try to get a new trial. Why would that be your only stipulation? Because you were afraid that he might come back to bite you on appeal? I'm just saying. I've seen things in the documents that are a little bit concerning. Doesn't mean you were illegal. It just means, are we crossing a gray area here? But Bill Thompson's always known that. So keep that in the back of your mind when we are like, why did Brian Koberger get away with murder and not even have to talk about it? Because we don't want him to come back later and cry foul. So we better not make him do anything. Isn't that crazy? Yeah, they should have a mic out there for the reporters. I'm sure there are going to be a bunch of places later with media updates coming out about the rest of that press conference. So sentencing won't be until June. And game over, go away, sir. Go live your ogre ass life in prison. I hear he's having to use a cane now. He's not as healthy as he was when he entered jail. Don't know what prison will be like for him. I don't know if they have like Gen Pop for serial killers in New York, or will he have to go to seclusion? Because he may hurt other people, but he didn't. They're not sex workers, so. There was the one Asian male. We don't know if he's responsible for or not, because the Asian male may have been presenting as a woman, and we don't know if Rex knew that or not. He hasn't been charged with his murder yet. And we don't know how many more there will. Like I said, body parts started coming. They began finding bodies in 1993. And I forget how long I had, because there was information I had in a folder somewhere about his whole entire past family, down to the grandpa, and it was weird stuff on top of that. And you got to think how young Heuermann would have been when he started a lot of this, right? And how he just continued to evolve over decades. And when you don't let it surprise you when you see him and he looks like he is unbothered in court, like when he was saying guilty, agreeing with everything the judge said, he was more unbothered than Koberger appeared to be. Guess who else was unbothered? BTK. They don't run on the same clocks that we run on. They don't run on the same emotions, the same feelings, nothing like we do. Or let's hope not, right? So they have a separation of their self from what they do. Yeah, that what I did was pretty bad, but here's why. And they can talk about it like it's dinner conversation, right? It's never a surprise to me when they appear to act unbothered by what they're confessing to. Do y'all know if that makes sense? You know what I mean? Because they just don't care. They do not have the same feelings we have. That is why the BAU wants to talk to them. You're not like the average citizen. You're not like society. We've molded them and shaped them into what we want them to be, but you didn't follow the rules. You broke the mold. I played a clip of him. I got a clip from in court this morning, Dolphin. I'll play again. We don't get court hearings out of New York. That's why we haven't covered any of his stuff. We don't get them. But we do get local media who will put stuff out, and I do have that from this morning. You might have been gone to get your breakfast when we took a look at it, so I'll pull it up real quick in case anybody did miss it. Y'all can see. All right, let's get him back up here as he talks to the judge. If I had the whole hearing, I would throw it up in a heartbeat, guys. Y'all know that. All right. We've all had to rely on the local media. Now, I know that there are reporters there today. Josh from Sinister Podcast, Laura Engel, they're all there in court today. So they're going to have their show. I think they're having a big show tonight on the Sinister Podcast with all the updates. We'll see. Okay, here we go.
Himself this morning. Moments ago, we heard from Heuermann speaking to the judge before pleading guilty. Let's listen.
Have you discussed this case with your attorney?
Yes, I have.
Have you had enough time to discuss this case with your attorney?
Yes, I have.
After discussions with your lawyer, you feel it's in your best interest to plead guilty rather than go to trial?
Yes, Your Honor.
Are you satisfied with the manner in which your attorneys represented you in this case?
Yes, I am.
I must say that the attorneys on both sides of this case have been excellent, unbelievable lawyers. Do you understand that by pleading guilty to a charge, that is the same as if you had gone to trial and been found guilty of that charge?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you understand that by pleading guilty, you're waiving a number of very important rights?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, Your Honor. Yes, Your Honor. I'm just a normal guy living out here on Long Island, going to work as an architect every day. Got my little family. I'm smart. I'm the guy you call when you need a building permit that's really super hard to get, right, Rex? It's a whole bunch of information out there about you and how genius you were at what you actually did for a living. He wasn't nothing to play around with. Seemingly very normal. If that was your neighbor, would you get a red flag? Or would you just be like, that's the weirdo with the weird house in the neighborhood that he never cleaned up? You know what I mean? Would you think anything? Because they just appear, they're not disheveled. They're not got that crazy look in their eye. You know what I mean? They don't look like the big bad boogeyman, except for his haircut, Dolphin. I'll give you that. He's had that same haircut. They just let him continue that once he got to jail. I don't know if he got his same barber. Can I get my guy in here or what? But yeah, he's had that same haircut. It doesn't evolve. Come on down here to Florida where they'll shave that shit off. Hey, he's going to prison. He's about to lose that whole bowl thing. I'm sure they shave off heads in New York prison too. I don't know what life's like in New York prisons. I don't know any. Is that P. Diddy? What's his name? P. Diddy? Is he in a New York prison? I don't know where they got him. Did he even go to prison? That's how much I didn't watch or care, right? Another one of you sex freaks out of Hollywood about to get a slap on a wrist and a weird bunch of stuff happening. No, thank you. I don't know nothing about New York. Well, what's that, Alcatraz, right? We know about that, but I don't know. I don't feel like a lot of crazy stuff happens in New York except crazy New York stuff. You know what I mean? Okay, so let me get to this press conference that happened yesterday with Asa Ellerup's attorney. Now, okay, so we just saw Gloria Allred there, Aldridge rather. She's attorney for several of the families. John Ray, attorney, is representing families as well. But John has a completely different style than Gloria. Oh man, I didn't have a picture to throw up of him. Anyway, he is representing the Mack family. Was it Jess or Valerie Mack's son who has filed the lawsuit now, wrongful death suit? Yeah, Valerie Mack's son filed the wrongful death suit against Rex Heuermann, Asa Ellerup, and their daughter Victoria. Why would she be named? I don't know. We'll take a look at something in a little bit and see if we can figure out why. Why would a child be named? Or at the time, a child, you know, what are you saying here in your lawsuit? Don't have a copy of the document yet because this is all like just happening stuff. So yesterday there was a press conference outside of the home. Let me pull that up. Let me get my shot together here. Oh, disclaimer, sometimes I cuss while I discuss. And I do that because somebody got offended a while back about I cuss too much or something, but I just thought I'd let y'all know occasionally because you're going to hear it if it's not comfortable. There are places that don't cuss. They'll claim they do, but they don't. Okay, so this speaks in court. This is the one where the attorney with Asa and daughter Victoria outside their home yesterday. And then after they did this is when Laura Ingle goes into the porch area with the attorney to interview him, and that's when Asa comes out and sits down with her coffee. I'll show you that in a minute. Okay. Now remember, she's already divorced Rex Heuermann, got paid a lot of money to let cameras follow her around doing a documentary about her husband. They were going to follow her through all the court proceedings and da-da-da-da-da. They've already aired. Didn't that thing on Peacock already air? I feel like I watched it. I don't know. Did they close Rikers off? And see, I'm over here Alcatraz. I forgot about Rikers. Okay. So now Asa's done made her a lot of money, right? Off this documentary deal. Now she's being sued. So let's hear what her attorney has to say about this situation. Get that out of there. Okay. Oh, really? What happened there?
In regards to the lawsuit filed by Johnny Ray, today is an extraordinary difficult day for everyone impacted by these horrific crimes, and it's only made worse by the reckless actions of John Ray. Mr. Ray has spent the better part of it being relevant in this case and has consistently attacked my clients with vicious, unfounded, unsupported rumors and allegations. First and foremost, our hearts are with the victims and their families. They have endured unimaginable loss, and nothing said here today can ease that pain. But let me be absolutely clear, and I want to say this without ambiguity. Mrs. Ellerup and Victoria Heuermann had no knowledge, no involvement in, no connection whatsoever to these horrific crimes. None. I would like to add, Victoria Heuermann was 3 years old. She was 3 years old at the time of the homicide of Valerie Mack. Mr. Ray accuses her of active participation in a homicide where she was 3 years old. Let's take that into consideration on the reckless acts that were brought by this. The individual responsible acted alone. Rex Heuermann has been indicted and charged with a series of homicides, and he will have his day in court to answer for those charges, which we all know will be tomorrow morning. My clients have fully cooperated with law enforcement from the very beginning. There is no evidence that implicates them in any way. None. Unfortunately, there has now been a civil lawsuit filed that attempts to suggest otherwise. The lawsuit is reckless, irresponsible, and completely unsupported by the facts of this case. This case has been thoroughly investigated by the Gilgo Beach Task Force. My clients have cooperated during that investigation from minute one, right in front of this house, in the command center post that was put out here the minute Rex Heuermann was arrested. It is deeply troubling in the wake of such tragedy that anyone would choose to advance claims that have no factual basis, only to serve to further harm individuals who themselves are dealing with profound personal human trauma. My clients are trying to process the reality that someone they trusted, a husband, a father, is accused of committing unthinkable acts. They are victims in this situation as well, not perpetrators.
Okay, so I think Peacock is the ones who followed her around and did, I think it's already aired, because I think I've watched it, either on Hulu or Peacock, but I'm pretty sure it was Peacock. I can't remember the exact name of it. I'm going to have to look it up. But it was a whole documentary where they follow her around. Yeah, and it's either on Peacock or Hulu. I can't remember. Give me a minute to find out.
We ask for restraint, fairness, and for the media and the public to focus on the pursuit of justice for the victims rather than amplifying unfounded, reckless allegations. There will be a time and a place to address the claims through the legal system doing that, but today, let me be absolutely clear. They have absolutely no involvement in the actions of Rex Heuermann, and we look to be fully exonerated in this reckless lawsuit brought by John Ray. If anybody has any questions, I'd be happy to respond.
Sources are telling us that Rex is going to plead guilty to murdering 8 people tomorrow. Your client's reaction to knowing that he's going to be admitting to these murders?
Until tomorrow morning, we don't know what's going to happen in the courtroom. That's between, Rex Heuermann, his attorneys, and the district attorney's office. I'm not going to comment on any of that.
So they spoke out on the Peacock documentary last year, in June of last year, but there have been several documentaries released throughout Netflix, Hulu, different ones, but this specific one we were talking about was the one over on Peacock. Gilgo Beach, the Gilgo Beach Killer, House of Secrets, I believe is what it's called.
Speculation of what's going to happen tomorrow.
Has Rex had any conversations with Asa ahead of tomorrow's possible plea?
He has, but again, I'm not going to discuss those conversations. So the family is prepared for whatever's going to happen tomorrow in court. They have, had conversations, with Rex over the past, several months. So they are prepared for whatever outcome is going to happen in court tomorrow.
Have they allowed him to plead guilty?
They have not been involved in the decision making of Rex one way or another.
There's been a lot of news about them making money off of this documentary. Peacock is here. What do you say to that?
I say this is America. People are entitled to whatever
This is
they are
America.
entitled to do.
You're entitled. And Peacock is still there, right? So yeah, Rachel, they're following up on the follow-up of the follow-up. We're not done. Peacock is still there. So Asa's making some bank off of her Peacock documentary series about her crazy husband that she knew nothing about.
Nothing about Rex Heuermann. This is about Asa's life and her process through this, Victoria's life and her process through this whole thing. There's no comment other than that.
Would Asa like to comment at all directly about?
No, she will not.
And is there any? Can you go over any insight into why Rex may have changed his decision about a guilty plea? Has that been shared with the family?
That's between Rex and his legal team. We are not part of any decision-making process that took place on why or if he's going to change his plea.
Mr. Macedonio, is this a relief? Is this a relief for your clients? What's happening tomorrow?
My clients have been living a nightmare for the past 3 years. July 13th, 2023, their home was turned upside down. They were removed from it for 13 days. Every one of their personal items was removed, many of which we don't have back yet, wallets, passports. And then again, about a year later, they were removed for 5 more days. And again, everything searched, personal property, all their clothes, all their bedding, everything was taken. So
did you see the inside of that house before they tore it apart? The boxes and boxes of shit Asa herself had sitting around that house, pack rat type stuff. There was a lot to search in that house because the 2 people, the adults in the house, were a little wacko. There's a lot of shit in that house. I've seen the inside of that house.
Whatever that's going to be, and put some closure to this. But again, the focus is on the victims and their families. They have been victimized. Ultimately, they will be okay. But we want to remain the focus where it is on the victims and their families.
Is the family planning to stay in the home, or planning to stay alone?
We're in the problem. We'll make that decision once the conclusion of the case comes.
Bob, how have you prepared your client to sit in court and hear those words that we've been told is going to happen? This is a dramatic change in systems for all this time. If he does in fact plead guilty to these crimes, how do you prepare your client to hear those words publicly?
Well, she's prepared to hear whatever's going to come out in the court tomorrow. And we've been consistent. She has never said that Rex Heuermann is not guilty. She's been consistent saying the man that she was married to, the Rex Heuermann she knows, she did not believe was capable of this crime.
That was the same man committing the murders. Is she aware? He got some kind of dueling personalities we were unaware of. Only she's aware of that. She's like, yeah, she knew when you held this press conference her ex-husband was going to plead guilty. That doesn't make her or her children guilty of anything, but I think as society we got to start to wonder to ourselves, how could they not know? And when we ask that simple question, we shouldn't be ridiculed because we asked it. I've seen that happen. You shouldn't, that doesn't mean she knew anything. How dare you? Well, come on, think about it. She lived with the man for how many years and didn't know nothing? Make that make sense. We can't have a conversation about that. So hopefully the woman listening across the way might hear us and be all warned out in her head now with red flags going, holy shit. We should talk about it. Not talking about things is how things stay buried. And how people don't realize what they're going through, the person next to me could also be going through, right? It's just, ugh.
Just like the next door neighbor, you wouldn't want to believe the neighbor's capable. They're horrific allegations. Nobody would want to believe it. She's now had almost 3 years to process that, and she's prepared. Whatever outcome's going to happen in court tomorrow, and she will deal with it.
But it's 3 decades in a very small living space. Were there any signs?
Ma'am, I have the full trust and faith in the Gilgo Beach Task Force, who has thoroughly investigated this case. My clients have cooperated from minute one. They have no involvement whatsoever. They have been clear in all the court filings.
They may not be involved at all, right? And nothing you could ever charge them with. Something wasn't right. Maybe they didn't know it was. They knew it wasn't right. Maybe they knew, but chose not to know. Just because you knew doesn't mean you participated. And I'm not saying that they knew, because apparently, according to her, they didn't know anything. We were never home when that happened. What about the times your husband did bring home the swingers that you knew about? And when you start accepting things that are not usually normal, but it's new, society says it's the new normal. When you start accepting the new normal as new, you open the door for a lot of new normal stuff to come pouring in you never wanted.
Mozzarella, Victoria were not in the jurisdiction when these homicides took place, whether they were in Iceland, whether they were in New Jersey, whether they were in Vermont. They were not here. And if you look at the prosecution's case, Rex Heuermann was particular in the homicides were performed or committed when they were out of the jurisdiction. No involvement whatsoever. I have no doubt in that.
He must have said to his wife like all the time, baby, you need to go on a trip, you and the kids. I work so much. You deserve it. Gone down to I don't know where they went. Go down there. You and the kids, go ahead. I'm so swamped at work. Y'all go take a few days. It's like they never traveled together or did things together. He goes to work, he earns the money, I spend it, so then he does what he wants. Period.
Family?
Yes, Jimmy.
So we understand Peacock's here and doing interviews. I mean, is there any way Ace will give us one statement despite these interviews through Peacock? We would like to hear, the public media would like to hear a statement from Ace.
There'll be an appropriate time. There still has a prosecution of a criminal case pending. There's still, until the criminal case is closed, they are not going to comment on this investigation at all.
Is the family anticipating additional civil, obviously additional victims? Do you expect additional civil litigation to come?
I don't anticipate, but I am confident. They have no involvement whatsoever, and any civil case that's brought is going to be reckless and will be dismissed. Anybody else?
Have you had any direct contact with John Ray since that was filed? Have you had a response to him, or you just wait?
No, I'm just going to wait. I mean, honestly, Johnny has spent, like I said, the better part of a decade trying to remain relevant in this case. He has one client that he had, Shannon Gilbert, who, fortunately or unfortunately for Miss Gilbert's passing, the other victims may have never been discovered. He has tried to latch onto this case. He has spent tens of thousands of dollars of his own money investigating and trying to pursue some type of civil remedy against anybody that could recoup his own costs. So I have not had a conversation with John Ray. We'll address John Ray in court where it's appropriate, and frankly, we're looking into the possibility of even bringing John Ray as a defendant because of his reckless, vicious attacks on my clients through his numerous press conferences and allegations that he's made against.
Oh, would that include a certain somebody standing beside him that appeared to back it up? Oh, ouch. This could get ugly.
So John Ray may find himself as a civil defendant one day in this whole action.
All right, plans after tomorrow's court proceeding. So is she going to go?
We'll have an additional statement to make tomorrow after the court proceeding, which will address whatever's going to go on tomorrow morning in court.
And does she have plans to go and visit Rex in jail after
We're not
that?
going to discuss that now. Not going to discuss any of that right now.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you everybody. Appreciate you coming.
In fact, Jet, in that Peacock series, I believe it's Victoria, the daughter, that walks us down into the basement toward Daddy's torture chamber. Isn't that wild? That and when you go into that house with the cameras, that's a creepy house. It's like, okay, whatever, but it's a creepy house. And you get down there to the basement where he was conducting all his business, if you will. It's even creepier down there. And yeah, his daughter shows it and talks about it. It's wild. Well, the daughter is there's a lot out there. This Ray, John Ray, this attorney is going on about John Ray and the libel suit they may bring against him when he shows you what he found out about Victoria, the daughter. You're going to go, oh goodness, oh, we might not want to look today. All right, so after that happened, that's when Laura Ingalls went on the porch and talked to them. Now, I don't have any indication as to when Peacock's going to air any new segments or new like a part 2 to the first part of the series or whatever. I haven't seen anything about that yet. Doesn't mean the information's not out there. Just means I haven't seen it or looked at it yet. Okay, let me... Here she is. Okay. Forrest says, you'd love to know what Victoria is thinking. Me too. Me too, because she knows what was put out there 2 years ago, that press conference about her, right? And she knows the allegations that are coming out in this new wrongful death suit that includes her. There's 2 people that have indicated she could be involved. A certain doctor and a certain lawyer. After watching what I watched on that press conference from 2 years ago, I didn't walk away convinced that girl did anything or was ever in on anything, but I was convinced she might have seen a thing or two when she was little that she probably was never supposed to see. And when you see what you see, you'll go, oh, we'll get there. All right. It's already 3 o'clock. Okay, so here is the Laura Ingalls report. Like I said, she'll be on tonight, I think, either on her channel or on Josh's. I don't know how they're doing it for their updates on the case today, and she was in court today.
Well, here I'm in Massapequa Park once again. Right here behind me is the home of Rex Heuermann, and we just had a press conference from Bob Macedonio, the attorney who represents Asa Ellerup and her family, and he wanted to get ahead of what's happening tomorrow, that expected change of plea from Rex Heuermann from not guilty to guilty for the 7 counts he's charged with. And we're hearing that there is going to be an 8th victim tied to Rex Heuermann. So huge breaking news this week on this front. And then last night, John Ray, an attorney who represents one of the victim's family members, Valerie Mack, he represents her son, they filed a lawsuit against Rex Heuermann and of the family as well. Claiming that, with the Peacock documentary, the film crew is here, with the Peacock documentary, they are making money, and he is filing suit about that. I asked Bob Macedonio after the presser, one-on-one, to give me kind of a recap of where he's at, why he held the press conference today. And while we were talking, Asa Ellerup actually opened up the screen door, came and sat down and had her coffee and listened in. Here's how it went. How are you guys feeling going into this big change of plea that we are expecting?
We are participating for any outcome tomorrow, and I don't want to speculate because Mike Brown, Rex's attorney, and Ray Tierney, the district attorney, are the only ones that know exactly what's going to happen tomorrow. The rest of us are pure speculating and listening to other reports as they're being leaked out, I think that's the better word.
And your reaction when you saw the suit from John Ray?
We'd always thought it was going to happen. I just thought the timing was a little bit inappropriate based upon, what's anticipated to happen tomorrow. Tomorrow is really about the victims, their families. John Ray has once again tried to insert himself to make it about him. So we're looking to, I want to address that today so it's not being done tomorrow, because tomorrow's day is for the victims of the homicides that, Rex Heuermann is allegedly responsible for. Not about John Ray, not about lawsuits. So we addressed that today to get ahead of that.
Right. Yeah, tomorrow is expected to, we've got the court appearance, we've got press conferences, and usually we see you at one of those press conferences. Are you not doing one tomorrow?
I will have a statement to make tomorrow on behalf of Asa and the family. And then I know there's separate press conferences that Mr. Brown and Mr. Tierney are having, and I don't know what they're going to say. I think everything's going to, revolve around what happens at 11 o'clock in the court appearance.
Okay.
So we're prepared for anything that's going to go on tomorrow, as is Asa and Victoria.
And in regards to the house, I think it was asked out there and I couldn't hear you. Your client is still planning on staying here in this home?
We're here until the conclusion of the criminal case, and then she'll make whatever decisions that are the best interest of her and her family at that time. Right now, there's nowhere else to go. So there's property and a location in South Carolina, but right now we're here until the conclusion of this case, and then she'll decide what she'll do from there. Right?
There's property
Well,
down there, but there's no toilet.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Very good. All right. Well, thank you.
On the property where Rex's brother lives, there's a huge piece of property that's subdivided, and
right.
Craig has, I think 4 or 5 acres there, right?
It's got 12.
Huh?
What?
Peacock.
Can I?
Yeah, I
address
wanted
it?
to address the issue with Peacock. I mean, there's allegations of Peacock. Asa and the family are independent and separate from Rex. Anything that they do, they're entitled to do in their own. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, I know John Ray is looking to attach himself to anything that has a dollar behind it, but they're free to do whatever they want to do, and they're not profiting off of any actions of Rex Heuermann. There's a documentary being filmed about their life, how they're dealing with the husband and the father being charged with a series of murders. It's not about Rex Heuermann. It's about how they are processing this and how they're dealing with this and how they're recovering from this. And reiterate, they are victims of Rex Heuermann's actions.
Yeah, Dolphin, you were confirming. Yeah, they got divorced. She divorced him, and those of us who have followed the case, we've always known that's why she divorced him. It was very strategic and financial. They made that decision very early on in the case, actually. And then not long after that is when we found Peacock was following her around. They've been following her around for months. It didn't just start. It's been going on. But yeah, that's why she divorced him.
They didn't ask for this. They didn't ask for July 13th to come and be ripped out of their house and have every personal item that they have strewn around and just publicly displayed. They didn't ask for any of that. So at the end of the day, we want to focus on the homicide victims, but they are homicide victims that are still living. They have to live with this the rest of their life. And that'd be clear. So if they're going to do a documentary on it, so be it. It's their business.
Yeah, but people have brought it up from the very beginning, and you know this.
That's great. That's great. There's a documentary done on every serial murder case that's out there. Melissa Moore. We have Carrie Ross. They're done every single one by the living survivors of.
He said, "That's a space we haven't seen in a while." But that's a whole other story.
Their father, their brother, their sister, whoever may be the murderers. Everyone. Susan Smith. Every single one. There's been a documentary done on. Okay. This is what America wants to see. This is what the public wants to see.
And he wouldn't be lying now, would he, if we're being honest? How many of y'all gonna go watch that if you didn't know it was already out?
How is she dealing with this? That's what we want to see. It's human nature.
I know you can't talk about it until we get there, but if you could, was it a surprise of hearing about the possible 8th victim being tied to Rex?
There have been speculation that Rex may be involved for 50. So
he said 50, like it was nothing. Yeah, Dolphin, she continued to visit him in jail until questions really started to pile up on her. And then they backed off of her going to the jail, period. They had, like I said, they had the cameras followed her into court a couple of times. You'll see that in the Peacock documentary that they've released so far. But yeah, it was all strategic. She's not done with her man. She'll probably support him while he's in the prison with some commissary off her Peacock money. If if John Ray don't take it all.
Any unsolved homicide that's taken place in the county of Suffolk or county of Nassau, there has been speculation that Rex Heuermann was responsible for it because it's an easy target. You know, Asian Doe, we have the baby with baby Jane Doe, all the different ones, Rex, because you have an easy target. You'll hear it in court tomorrow. Whatever Rex is responsible for or not responsible for, I'm sure it'll be addressed tomorrow.
And because it's like a never-ending conversation about people, these killers profiting off their victims and writing. They've all done it. It's not new. And we as true crime consumers or people who are into mysteries and whatever you want to call what we do, we watch those documentaries. We look for them. We wait for them. Do we ever think about who's making money off of them until it's brought up? They can set up a system. They have the Son of Sam law. Every state is different. I'm going to leave it up to them individually on how their state chooses to handle it. Because I'm not going to go hard at anti-documentary stuff because he's not wrong. There's documentaries out there about everybody, and we absolutely consume them. And if we didn't want to consume them, they wouldn't be making them, right? Of course, we want to know. We're intrigued. What makes you work? What makes you not work? What makes you do this? What makes you what? What about it? But then you go back to the money. And I don't get too hard-handed into the money part because I feel like that's a wasted conversation almost sometimes, because you got to take that fight up with each individual state on how they handle it. You know what I mean? It's just I can't pick up every single battle out there. Y'all know what I'm saying.
And again, I'm confident Ray Tierney and the task force has thoroughly investigated what Rex's involvement is and what Asa and Victoria's involvement is not, is more important.
I have to put that on mute because I'll get in trouble for playing their music. I think they're going to start in a second.
Been an extremely emotional day for all involved, and I know everybody's been here since early in the morning. I would just like to read a statement on behalf of the family, then I'll take a few questions, and then when I'm through, Asa will read a statement on behalf of herself and her family. Today is an extremely difficult day for everyone involved. I'd like to commend Ray Tierney and the task force for the amazing job they did in solving these crimes. It's been traumatizing Long Island for well over 3 decades. First and foremost, our hearts are with the victims and their families. They have suffered unimaginable loss, and nothing said here today can lessen that pain. Let me be absolutely clear. We just heard in the courtroom, Rex Heuermann and Rex Heuermann alone is responsible for these horrific crimes. Any suggestion that Asa Allred or Victoria Heuermann were involved is irresponsible. They have no knowledge, no involvement, or any connection to these heinous acts. The evidence that's been put out in the courtroom simply does not support any other fact pattern. Mrs. Allred and Victoria accept today's outcome without question. She and her family have cooperated fully since day one with law enforcement.
Dolphin, you're not supposed to make me crack up like that when I look down at my phone at the messages in the chat. I can't even say it out loud because I'm going to laugh through the whole thing. Ugh.
And will continue to respect this legal process as it comes to a conclusion. This situation is deeply personal and profoundly painful for Ms. Allred and her family. She never wanted to believe the man she was married to for 27 years, the father of Victoria, would be capable of committing such heinous acts. Like so many others, she is still trying to process what was just revealed inside that courtroom, and she has to remain strong for her family. On behalf of her family, she's asking for privacy, compassion, and understanding as she now navigates these circumstances which nobody could have anticipated a little more than 3 years ago. Today is not about Asa. It's not about Victoria. It is about the victims and their families, what we just stated, have suffered unimaginable losses. And this family will continue in cooperating with the District Attorney's Office and law enforcement in the pursuit of justice, wherever it may take us. Any questions?
Can we hear from Asa?
Yeah, no, we shortly will hear from Asa, yes. Just want to know, she's not going to answer any questions. She's going to read a statement, but if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer. Okay. She's not going to answer questions. She's going to read a statement that she prepared last night. She's not going to ask any questions.
Can you come to the center back where you want?
Okay, right up. Asa, just step up. Slow. Okay.
No questions?
No
Okay.
questions.
My thoughts and prayers are with the victims and their families. Their loss is immeasurable. And the focus should be on them at this time and moment. I ask that you give some privacy to my family as they navigate through this very difficult time.
How did you not see what he was? How did you not see what he had done? You were living with him.
Sir, the District Attorney's Office has thoroughly investigated these crimes, okay? It has been proven.
You were living in the same house with him.
She was away.
What were the
She was
signs?
away each and every occasion. We've answered this 1,000 times, okay? You guys have the bail applications. You have the investigation.
Oh, we do have the bail application. We do.
Yeah, that's it. There's no questions, okay?
No questions, no questions. She was out of town. Yes, Dolphin, I've seen that document. I've seen the Peacock. All the ones that are out there so far, I've already seen them. Because I've been following this case for a while. We just don't talk about it a lot. I haven't really reported on it a lot, except for that one member's live I did. But because I go somewhere else to get my updates, because there's not a ton out there. And I'm not as... You can't keep up with it as thoroughly if you're not there. So I always go rely on the Sinister podcast. And Jack Leone and Laura Ingle, they really have good reporting on this case. Even that, there was another serial killer operating in the same area at the same time. And there was chatter, even Rachel, a couple weeks back, was it John Vitriol? And would the defense try to tie some of the Gilgo Beach victims to Vitriol versus Heuermann, right? It was going to be a whole thing. It's crazy involved. But like we've said, there were so many involved with the overall investigation and where that investigation really went and the different avenues it really took. Law enforcement who were on the take that were uncovered during that investigation, all the problems with Suffolk County that came out of that investigation. Yeah, it's all there. There's a lot. And because of the problems within that county and the corruption, it kind of led the way for Heuermann to get away with what he was doing for as long as he did. And when I tell you there's some serious questions out there about that investigation prior to the current DA on it, that how did Heuermann fall through the cracks from 1993 until his arrest? That's a long time for a serial killer to be operating in the United States of America. Is he the longest running serial killer that we know of? We've got to look up the statistics on that, guys. Like, I really wonder who went the longest without getting caught. And will they cop to how many they actually were responsible for? You know what I mean? Yeah, Dolphin. Exactly. The overlap there. And it was a good dump site. We even know that Peaches and her baby that were found out there weren't even a part of any of this. For years we didn't know. For years she wasn't even identified until they finally got her identified. And they just arrested her ex-husband or her husband recently, just a few months ago. And then, they, of course, released who she was, who the baby was, who he was. So they were able to not, put her as part of the group of women. And I don't know. I wonder how many different people from the BAU will go in to talk to Heuermann at a time. Will it be like one-on-one session, or will it meet with a couple of people? How will they play that out going forward? And once he's sentenced and gets settled into his new prison life and all of that, I wonder when they'll start talking to him. And when we'll start seeing papers and books come out about that. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, there was a lot. The Golden State, no. No, John Vitriol was around the Long Island area, right? I think they've got a couple of actual dedicated shows over at the Sinister podcast about that particular. No, these are. Yeah, vitriol was specific to the Heuermann case for reasons, right? They're in some of the court documents that we do have. They weren't going to try to say that some of his victims belonged to this guy, that guy, that guy, that guy, but there was one specific guy. Do you know what I mean? And that's where that name come up at, because he was operating in the area. Yeah, the Golden State Killer was 74 to 86, but it wasn't vitriol. This particular guy. He was brought up in the documents, and I forget which victim particularly they were looking at to see if she was tied to him. I'd have to go back and look at the information again. Yeah. Well, once they, we don't know how many more will come out of the, the Rex Heuermann case, right? He's going to be one of the most prolific. We can't even say he should not be one of our top serial killers anymore. We got the record and the history of all these other guys that come before him. But what about the one before us right now today? Because I think from 1993 to the time of his arrest, he wreaked a lot of havoc on a lot of people. Even so far as taking his little burner phones and calling up his victims' families. And they can identify these killers a lot quicker now thanks to that little thing called investigative genealogy. Oh, and DNA, period. For decades, we didn't even have that, right? You want to essay women, you can leave your stuff everywhere, fine. We would just know it happened because it's there. Now we can get you because of that DNA, right? It's harder for killers to get away with it more these days, but look, it's not that damn hard because Koberger almost did. The guy at the door at Miss Nancy Guthrie's house appears to be getting away with it. So look how long it took to catch Heuermann and get those hairs tested and tied back to his family members, right? And to get that pizza. But there's all kinds of evidence that went into play with Heuermann. Even I'm interested to see how they were able to go that far back into old phone data records, and what would that actually tell you? Even going back to the old drive time. When did y'all start implementing the drive time with your little calibrated device that I had to learn all about? And I thank you there, Nick Balance, because you explain it beautifully in layman terms in the Chad Daybell trial. Because I went and brushed up on it when Ann Taylor was trying to throw shade at it over there in Idaho. I'm like, wait, this is Nick Balance, ma'am. You better come again. So I go and do my research. I'm like, oh, she got her work cut out for her with this one. But I would like to see what an old phone record like that would look back, what it would look like, and what can they glean from it, compared to now. It's crazy. And how were they able to start piecing things together? They got part of the truck, right? They had one of the victims had a roommate, And he said that the guy who showed up to pick up his roommate was driving a Chevy Avalanche truck. That was the first time they had ever heard about a vehicle, right? So there were little things here and there popping up that they were able to start piecing together and connecting him to all the different cases that of missing people. It's crazy. I'm just glad they finally got the guy and got him off the streets, and because I don't care where his victims came from, nobody deserves it, and no one deserves to be hung up from a little hook in the ceiling, naked and tortured. No matter who you are, it's just not right. Now, I do want to share with you guys. I think I'm going to be in a time crunch today because it's going to be lengthy, so I'm thinking we're going to do it in the morning. If y'all want to come back and join me for it, because I want to kind of get an idea as to why they may be and why the family may be getting sued. To give you those of you who already have concerns about what's up with this family, come back in the morning if you want to see more, and we'll all go let our mouths hit the floor together. It's wild. What it is, it's going to be is John Ray and Dr. Gary Burkhardt, and I'm only saying that because he's absolutely all up in the video, so I can't afford to pretend it didn't happen. I'm not going to do that. Anyway, I'm going to share that with you guys. It's a press conference, and they talk all about Victoria Heuermann. And then apparently, I didn't know it at the time. I just found out this morning that I think the doctor reacted after all that came out, and I don't know what he had to say for himself. So I'm looking forward to getting my reaction to that. And I haven't listened to it yet. I think I'm just going to hold off and be highly surprised with everybody else at the same time. Because I'm always interested in what these doctors have to say, but I need y'all to come act like we aren't idiots at the same time. And I need you to come out and talk like you really want to help figure out what's going on versus you coming out and telling me what all your books tell you is wrong. Because the books are wrong at the moment. We have got these new people, well, not new people, but way back when I said I think the vines are being used to pull the camera off, laughed at me. And I said, I think those first 2 ransom letters might have been real. I got laughed at again. It's okay. I didn't get butthurt about it or nothing. I just thought it was funny. Now, a lot of experts are like, wait a minute. Savannah said the first 2 are real. Maybe we should. But then they get super confused because the people holding the panels aren't saying, no, let me clarify. The first 2 are not these new, they are so confused about when these TMZ letters came in. Even the new ones, right? But they're going by their textbook, and now they're saying not robbery gone wrong doesn't fit the profile. Not SA gone wrong because it doesn't fit the profile. Cannot be a kidnapping gone wrong because who the hell is going to contact TMZ? Well, if it's none of the above, what is it? Dust off that one textbook in the back that might tell you what it is then. Everything else you're on point about except what's going on here. And how come they can't admit they don't know? Can't we admit we don't know? It's weird. What I'm seeing is weird. You think so, Rachel? You think so, Rachel? Oh, honey. Can we disagree on that one? Politely. I've seen a lot. I clock this dude every chance I get. I rarely miss a Sunday because it's like my hobby. And that's sad. That's my hobby, man. Okay, I do know this. That particular platform and that particular show is really pushing a narrative right now that's got a lot of tunnel vision behind it that ain't far off from the same shit they say certain low-level creators are out there pushing. Let me just... family dynamics and all. I don't know. Maybe he learned from it, maybe he didn't. I cannot tell you. It doesn't sound like it, though. I don't know. Will we start a conversation about why the porch guy could be doing this or that? It's going to go back to, what about the family dynamics? Did you see how Tommaso walked across the floor? By God, that's his gate. Now he's being followed. Let me just say that again. The family of Nancy Guthrie are being followed by YouTube streamers because people need to be in the know, while a very large platform continues to push the narrative that the family is somehow involved. How's that for our today's recap? I could throw so much shade and be so mean right now, but I try to be a kind person for the most part. I can't with stupidity sometimes, and it makes me want to go, ugh. I love Dr. Gary's other channel. I didn't know he had a channel playing the piano, Jet. I do not. No, I don't need to see it. He plays piano. Now we got that one streamer the other day was playing his guitar. That's the second one that's come on and played guitar. And I think some of them sing. I will not do any of that. I will sing occasionally, but you're only going to hear a couple of lines. I don't hate on Gary, you know what I mean? Gary he's got textbook stuff to tell me, kind of like Dr. John over there at Hidden True Crime. I can go pick out them books in the library and read them myself. You know what I'm saying? They're kind of old now. Them books are old and dated. Y'all need to write new ones. All the more reasons to go talk to the Kobergers of the world and the Rex Heuermanns of the world. Like, you really need to. Y'all stopped with BTK. That dude's dated. That dude's outdated now. Come on, man. Let me base it off this one case from 1962. Sir, things have progressed. I don't know, Rachel. Will it go that far? I'm trying to stay out of all that drama of it. I see it. It's pathetic. I saw a couple of things the past 4 days that I have no words. Let me just say that. Mind blowing. I have no words. We'll let them keep doing what they're doing. So we don't have any updates on Miss Nancy. Obviously, none to report. We don't have any new images have come out from any stuff. No new neighbors. No new information that we know of. We do have some things, you know. They're all just trying to circle back now and figure out if these TMZ letters, and I guess I got to get my timeline out for them. I do got a show, actually, I'm going to be doing on those letters, but it's very specific to show the differences, because we don't know. We have no clue, right? We don't know if any of it's real, if any of it's a lie. I do not think for a second that this new, remember when Savannah goes back to work on Monday and TMZ gets 2 new letters? Those are not from the kidnapper, right? And I think that's where a lot of panel guests over the past 48 hours that I've seen, they have not understood that, and it was not clarified by the people who paneled them. They just let them talk and never corrected them. And I thought, damn, it's so easy to correct. It's not like you're hurting their feelings or you're going to be rude. You need to clarify for the record, right? I think that'll take away a lot of the, we're just going to ignore that TMZ shit stuff, because ignoring that has now got everybody real confused, unless they were paying attention to begin with, that the first 2 were completely different than all the rest. But we continue to want to throw them first 2 in with all, and it wasn't. And I kept saying, after that second video, go watch Savannah's videos that she released. They're direct correspondence to the very first 2. Whether they were real or not, the FBI believe they could have been. And they still don't know. And any of y'all that come out and tell me they know, you're lying. Or you're completely misinformed, right? because the FBI hasn't said a damn thing either way about these letters. And I'm telling you, whoever's writing those letters, real or not, they're not plopped their ass down inside the United States of America. They're sitting across the border somewhere or in a whole other country that we just can't walk up into and take them. Because now the talking heads are finally asking, we really do wonder why the FBI can't find them, come to think of it. We just kind of glossed over it and thought, oh, there must be nothing to it. But come to think of it, why haven't they? I'm like, oh, a week later, y'all are finally catching up to me. Good Lord, that was a long one. Gave me a headache. So I don't know. We'll see if any of these experts want to come out and really talk candidly about it. I'm looking for those real conversations about it anymore than that glossed over versions of stuff. People need to back off and leave them alone, though, Rachel. I mean, nobody's been arrested. I mean, come on, good Lord. They spent a lot of time investigating that family. If there was anything there, they'd arrest them. If not, they're going to have them as a close person of interest, and they're waiting on somebody to screw up royally. And if the family did do something and they've managed to elude arrest all this time, well, damn, look at you go. Because somebody's brilliant. I don't know if it's Tom or Annie at that point, if I'm going to roll with the family did something, which one of y'all's the brilliant one? Shit. Y'all pulled it off. It's going to take a couple of YouTubers following you around, though, to bust you. It's so complicated. It's crazy. Yeah, y'all are scaring me now, Rachel. I didn't know he had a piano channel. That's wild. So anybody, please don't become offended if I have upset you by saying anything you didn't like about Dr. Gary. It's nothing personal. I just evaluate his work just like I would any of these other doctors that come out and attempt to tell me how things work. I got questions about you and your family dynamics. I'm saying. Anyway, y'all know to be safe on them YouTube streets. And be safe when you go out on the actual streets, because you don't know how many Rex Heuermanns are out there lurking around. Like, you just don't. And you don't have to be sex trafficked or a worker to be a victim, right? You don't. You could have that weird guy that is obsessed with soccer moms, because he'll never have one for himself. So I'm just going to take somebody else's and have my way. People are weird. They do stuff. All right, guys, y'all go be safe out on the real streets, on the YouTube streets. Have a great evening. Have a great dinner. Get a good night's sleep. All the good things. I'll be back in the morning. I want to go over this. I want y'all to come evaluate it with me and see if I'm the only one picking up on some of the things I picked up on. Like, the thing is 2 years old, so it ain't like we're not going to look at anything that hasn't been out there. So I do want to see it. Again, watch it with you guys and get your take on what y'all think about it. So stay tuned for that in the morning. And of course, any updates in the Nancy Guthrie case, I will be bringing as well. And also some key stuff about that, key stuff that was in the ransom stuff that I want to compare. That's all I want to do is compare and show you guys a couple things, and let's see if we can figure out something together. I like to figure it out with you guys, because I don't sometimes know. I'm like, I can't figure it out in my head, and I've tried to figure this out. Let me go talk to my peeps and see if we can figure it out together, right? Y'all come back in the morning and we'll have some coffee and crime conversations. Be safe on the streets. And thank you, mods, for coming in, and thank you for helping me keep the updates going and looking for the updates. Y'all know I appreciate all your help. All right, guys, y'all have a good one. Take care, and I'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you all for watching.